Hello and welcome to FDS Live. We are here in Charlottesville, Virginia for the End Games Duel Commander League Finals. Here we have Spencer Herndon starting off tonight with Tony Perry, and they will be going at it tonight for the semifinals. Then we're going to have another semifinal game and then a final game. But I'm going to kick it over to Brendan and Kreitzman right now to do the commentating for the game. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's get started.
Whoa, that's me. Wow. How
Exciting.
magical it is to hear Nathan say my name
Right.
for content.
To say your name, say your name.
Right. Say my name. Wait, I can't sing that. We're on YouTube now.
And immediately, yeah. No, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Obviously, like Nathan said, this is for our top four for our Commander Masters Dual Commander League. Again, we have Spencer and Tony playing this event or this match first for us. Spencer is on Urtai Resurrected.
Yep. Blue black control. Do we?
Okay, we're good. And then Tony playing the interesting combination of Yoshimaru and Bruce Tarl. Cool. As a reminder to everyone, we will have the three matches again, like we were just stating. We'll have some small intermissions in between matches. The players here are presenting their decks. We also have determined first players based on the seeding for the league. So for this match, Tony will be going first. And then we will try to call it like we see it. We also have one of our local judges, Joseph Tigner, as our table judge for the night. So hopefully that helps keeping the order of plays to make sure that we're not missing any triggers or things like that throughout the gameplay. If there's any stalls in the game, it's likely the table judge speaking to them, who will also be running the life totals for us. All right, so as they get ready to start things off here, you may hear a little delay on our end. And again, thanks everyone for joining us. All right, we're good. Sorry about that, everybody. We had a little technical difficulty on our back end here, but I don't think anyone watching had to deal with that at all. So hopefully everyone's able to see.
Just us.
Yeah, just us. If you hear any like lulls in the conversation, it's just us trying to work out some of the issues that come up with this being live.
Yeah, we don't get to do this that often, so oftentimes when it happens, it's like we have to learn how to ride the bike again.
Yeah, and specifically if you joined us last time versus this time, new setup, new people playing in the event as well, so kind of just a growing process for all of us, and hopefully we will be able to do this more frequently so that those sorts of bugs are avoidable on our side.
Did you talk about who was going first for this match already?
I had started to. I don't remember if I finished the thought because it's when we had the technical error.
Right.
But so we do have assigned going first. So Tony, who is on the right side with the purple play mat, he will be going first in this match as the top seat for this match. And we'll go over that in the other matches as we get there.
Yes.
One thing you and I talked about prior to the event before, while we're still waiting for them to shuffle and present hands and things, is the fact that Tony, during the league, was playing his Tivit control.
Yep.
And then for top matches, the way that we do our league is we do a 6-week league. The first 3 weeks are locked in. Then you can switch your deck for the second 3 weeks, and then you lock in for top 8. So it was interesting to see him switch from his Esper control list to a more aggressive Boros aggro deck. But I think it was clever on his part because he knows about the fixed turn structure for top 8, and I think he was really hedging his bets on being able to go.
For top 8, each match, the higher seed gets to go first, and while Tony wasn't the number 1 seed going into the top 8, he knew at least initially he could have the play, and he liked some of the matchups some of his opponents had that had lower seedings. So the switch to Yoshimaru was partly because there's a lot of control in our local meta, and going control into control is a very grueling matchup. Mm-hmm. But also, Tony mentioned earlier, because we talked to him before the match, that he made this decision because he knew he was likely to be going first in at least some of the matches in top 8. and that allowed him to really like lean into the aggressive nature of Yoshimaru when a lot of the other top 8 had to make changes for a control meta that Tony gets to kind of like go under.
Right, he gets to sort of snake around it and use all of that pre-planning against them, which, like, for some people, I think they see it as less tactical and more questionable. But I think it's important to know the players more than the decks they'll be piloting, because, like, it's possible that you didn't run into them during the league at all, and so you may not know what they were piloting anyway. So, like, I don't think that should deter people from playing whatever deck they feel most comfortable with. And also, I know he mentioned the added side effect that he actually really likes the Boros deck. So it was kind of a pleasant surprise for him that not only was it like a tactical choice, but also he found an archetype that he probably would not have played otherwise.
And also, he had to make this decision before knowing, oh gosh, oh god.
I think he's trying to show us his hand, but I don't think he realizes we can't really see it. But he's trying.
Well, the stream might be able to.
Oh, I guess that's true.
My
their
favorite thing
is
in the hand is the Japanese alternate art demonic tuner.
Yeah,
that's so nice.
It's gonna be a good one. It looks like Tony is making his mulligan decisions here. I did ship at least a hand back.
I believe they both did. I believe they're both starting on at least 6. Tony
looks like he may be on 5.
Yeah, but for Tony going into this match, he didn't know about this when he made the deck building decision, but Spencer was one of his few losses really over the course of the past 2 leagues, let alone this one. Right. So, and then Spencer stayed true to this list, so maybe building turn 1 Yoshimaru.
Surprising no one.
Yeah.
For those who may not know how partners work in Duel Commander, the way it works is once you have cast one of your commanders from the command zone, the other one is locked out. So the reason he's playing Bruce Tarl is he doesn't really want him for the effects, but rather to gain access to red mana. So he's getting to play a really aggressive 1-drop commander, guaranteed every game, on top of also having more aggressive
And
red
if
spells.
you have other turn 1 plays, it might be that's something you can kind of sneak in as like a backup plan, where maybe Bruce Tarl becomes your primary commander if you already have 1, 2, 3 drops to play.
It's also possible, especially with Spencer being on Dimir, that because he knows that he's going to be really high on removal spells, that playing Yoshimaru may just get killed. And so like having a really aggressive alternate in his command zone could be beneficial.
Right. And there are other ways to get your commander from the command zone that like Command Beacon is a really popular one.
There's also
combat.
Yep.
Life totals.
Jamming in there. All right, looks
Bring
like
him.
Yep, just taking one. Another reminder for those who may not be familiar: there is no commander damage in Duel Commander. Everyone is just locked at 20 life. It plays much more similar to Legacy than your typical commander.
Yeah, that's
game.
what I've really enjoyed about the format is it plays a lot more like Legacy Singleton. Turn 2, it's Cathar Commando, which at the moment is really just a 3/1, but he can crack it later to destroy an artifact or enchantment.
Yeah. Also,
there's that demonic tutor.
I'm very curious to see what he ends up getting with the tutor. It's the one thing I'm interested about here is the commando having flash, and yet he decided to play it main phase.
Mana was down.
I guess that's true. He may just be worried about the amount of counter spells. Obviously, like Urtai is a counter spell or removal spell in your command zone, so that's one thing that he's going to have to be mindful of throughout the match.
And I think Tony wants Spencer to use removal spells to get rid of threats early on instead of counter spells.
Yeah.
If they're able to play off the stack as much as possible, that's only going to benefit Tony, who's able to just keep spitting out threats.
Right. It's also likely that he may be playing things that give his creatures indestructible or protection,
more
or things
so
like
than
that.
Can't be countered.
Exactly.
In red white.
Yeah. So I think that's very smart on his behalf. But normally, you'd see that as like an end of turn because out of nowhere 3/1 is a pretty powerful.
I mean,
gotcha.
Out of somewhere 3/1 is pretty powerful if Spencer doesn't get set up in time.
That's true. And with him tutoring here, my wonder is if he was worried about missing land drops or if he got something like a... Well, it looks like he's playing land, so I'm wondering if he got something like a board wipe or something.
Is that a legendary permanent to trigger Yoshimaru?
It sure is, if it resolves. It looks like he may be thinking it's possible he may have like a force or something in his hand. Yeah, it looks like it's good. So yeah, Yoshimaru, the amazing thing about that commander is that whenever you have a legendary permanent enter the battlefield, whether it's a creature, an artifact, a land, he gets a +1/+1 counter. So very aggressive start here.
Right.
Attacking for 3, 4, 5, 6 on turn 3,
Yep.
And gaining 4.
Yep. And also putting on the Cathar Commando means that's 2 threats Spencer really doesn't want to stick around, as opposed to just 1 with like the Yoshimaru growing.
Right. Yeah, it's a very smart to
And also
diversify his.
some of Spencer's like end game options are enchantment and artifact based.
Right. All right, it does look like we are going to see a deluge. I was curious if he went for a board wipe. It looks like he may have.
Yeah.
So he did lose 2 life to deal with that, but I think that is better than losing another 6.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And
I think Tony's okay with that because he's pretty much already done half the work.
Yeah, I mean, like his crossing of the threshold now is pretty. I mean, barring having like more counter spells on other board wipe, like Damnation could be there, like any like Meat Hook Massacre or something like that could definitely show up throughout this match. Interesting too, though, like losing Yoshimaru is kind of tough, but he only costs 3 now, so it's very likely we may see it again this turn. He also has Boromir. So Boromir is a very spicy one. 3 mana, 3/3. Vigilance is already amazing.
And then they kept adding words.
Yeah, and then they, much like Questing Beast, they just keep adding things to him. So if your opponent his opponent can no longer play free spells because they'll be automatically countered by Boromir, and he now has board wipe protection again because Boromir has the sacrifice effect to give all your other
effect,
to give all your other creatures indestructible, and the ring tempt you, which could matter.
The ring. Oh my gosh, there were words I forgot about on the card.
Yeah, the ring tempting. I don't expect to see a ton of it, but the fact that it's incidentally on a bunch of powerful cards in this format, like we will see probably some amount of the ring going on.
This turn's interesting because Spencer clearly has the Urtai up, so it's really a matter of what amount of pressure that Tony wants to present even.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like attaching the Shadow Spear and then animating the Mishra's Foundry or Workshop, whichever one, the one that makes it a 2/2.
Foundry.
Yeah. So I would not be surprised if we see that.
Vicious Workshop taps
for 3 colorless. Thank you.
Colorless
I always get them confused because I don't play either of them in any deck. So yeah, we could see another like diversifying of threats by Tony by animating his creature land and then attaching the spear to Boromir. So it's very likely that could happen. Sorry again for the lull here. We're having another bit of technical difficulty on our end, so we apologize. There we go. All right, we're back to it. Yeah, we're good.
I don't even think the stream lost.
Yeah. The nice thing is this should not be impacting any of our viewers.
Is
it's
that
just
a cryptic command I can't read?
It's
a cryptic command
I do believe that's correct. So it looks like we saw.
It was a bounce, and
it looks like he cast the Yoshimaru, and then it was a counter and bounce, and then the Foundry coming in for 2.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, apologies for that if you hear weird silence on our end. We are using a different stream from you all, so hopefully you are not seeing the blank screens that we are when
right. We're
because we are in a
we're
different
going
room
on hard mode because we're experienced professionals.
We like the challenge.
Right.
It's more so we can be in a different room than the players and it not impact everyone watching along. So hopefully you guys will forgive us for the small.
Or not.
Yeah, or just don't hold it against us. That's fine too.
In fact, get in the comments. Tell us how much you don't forgive us.
All right, so it looks like we got another, I believe, Boromir here.
Yep.
It looks like Spencer may be thinking about whether that's good or not.
This is the moment. These are the moments that Tony doesn't want to be interacting with. Is the fact that Spencer is able to interact with stuff on the stack is something that Tony can't protect his stuff from.
Looks like we're going to nerd sign here.
Yep.
So, likely as a counter and draw.
It's kind of like Cryptic Command, but then your opponent draws the card.
Right.
And all you get is a body that will probably win the game.
Yeah, which is a 3/2. And then looks like we've got Thalia here. Obviously, Sunbaked Canyon will be pinging Tony here for 1.
Cost of life. And is first strike. That's
Oh yeah, we do have the 2/1 first striker against the 3/2 non-first striker.
Yep.
A pretty good follow-up to the Boromir. It looks like we have a Lorien revealed fetching up.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't go for the
Anthony.
Mystic Sanctuary with Cryptic Command in the graveyard, which makes me think that he has a double black pip spell in his hand that's been stuck
I
there.
think that's likely the case. I don't know if he's playing anything like Hymn to Turok or something like that, but as he kind of is dwindling Tony's resources down, it's possible that he may have some sort of hand disruption or something that he may be trying to set up, because once Yoshimaru becomes too expensive,
It's not worth
it's
it.
more of a cakewalk for Spencer to kind of do 3 damage at a time until the game's over.
A 5-mana 1/1 that might grow isn't.
Is way worse than than what we started off with. But Thalia hopefully will be helping along the way. I mean, the tax from her alone is already,
Yep.
I'm sure, something that Spencer's thinking about. So
Also, those decisions to play free interaction become a lot more important when you're having to pay an extra. Like 0 to 1 is a lot.
Yeah.
For the math.
Curse you, math.
Ooh, math. And also, Spencer is waiting to interact with something when it becomes probably when he goes to equip a Shadow Spear, right? Because that way Tony's having to use more of his mana into something that's just going to go away.
Yeah. It did look like Spencer may have something like a Grief or something in hand.
Ooh, the Grey Havens.
Yes, that's an interesting one. Is it itself legendary? That may be why. I believe it is. Yes, sure
It is.
So I believe he's getting to Surveil 1 here, if I'm not mistaken. And then it taps for mana equal to colors of legendary creatures in your graveyard, I think. So I think he can tap for colors or white now, because Boromir is in his graveyard. So sort of like a additional dual land, which is nice.
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of a slow build to it, but right now, at least being a Surveil plus being able to make white mana is already pretty good for him. All right, looks like we're suiting up the Thalia here.
Yeah.
I am curious to see what his
Spencer is light on interaction at the moment.
Yeah.
What's really cheeky is that I think I got a flash of Memory Deluge.
Yeah.
Which means he gets, because of the Thalia tax,
He actually gets to look at an extra card.
He gets to look at an extra card.
Yeah, which is going to be very strong for him. All right, so yeah, we do get to see the Foundry and Thalia going into the red zone here.
Yeah, we're firing off the Memory Deluge, being able to dig 5.
Yeah, we'll make sure here he sees hopefully he'll pull the full 5. Yes, he's double checking with the judge, so he does get to see the full 5. He'll only get 2 still, but he does get an extra luck, which is nice.
I see some of my favorite cards in those 5.
My God. Are you having flashbacks to Zamonadina already, or
I'm having flashbacks to my current
your
Teferi
current mono
list.
blue list because you're a monster?
I mean, he did just put a treachery aside. All he needs is a Teferi, a High Tide, and they're like, oh.
He's basically there.
And also, that's hidden information. He doesn't have to show his opponent nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is nice the fact that he gets to have some more tricks again, obviously, in his hand.
And honestly, for Spencer right now, Urtai being not on the battlefield is a little bit better.
So, as someone who's tried playing Urtai when he first came out, I did notice that him in play is significantly worse than him in any other zone.
Like, if it's winning you a game, heck yeah.
Yeah, like if he's the only thing in play and you're getting to just swing freely for 3, then obviously it's great, but it takes a lot of work to get there.
I would say his real role is to trade with attackers.
Yeah. One thing we may see, we don't have his list in front of us currently, but I would love to know if he is playing Riptide Lab. That was something that I was playing with when I was
being able to bounce wizards.
Yeah, being able to.
So this is
bounce
treachery.
It's a really messed up. It's a really messed up magic card. So it's mind control. So he's trying to take control of the Thalia. I would imagine. And then he'll get to untap 5 lands as well, which is
what's important is that Thalia will be holding the spear, but Spencer doesn't take the spear.
Right. So he'll have to find another creature to equip his spear to.
Right. And then he'll get to untap 5 of the lands.
Yep. Which conveniently pays for Urtai with the commander tax, because he's got 5+1.
Whoa. Do you think Spencer knew that?
I have to imagine. I have to imagine that was probably something he was thinking about.
And also, Spencer's newly tapped Thalia has lifelink.
Currently.
I think that might help.
It definitely will help, for sure.
Also, last turn, or type blocking the land, I think was also a big.
That was super important, I think, for his long game. The big thing with Urtai is you are certainly not closing out a game early.
Right.
it is definitely like a slow, grindy choke out on your opponent's resources.
Right.
And I think the more he can interact, especially with things like lands, which he may not normally be able to interact with well, the more likely he's going to close out the game in the late game like he wants. We did see Yoshimaru get cast here, but it was washed away. Another powerhouse counterspell in the format because your commander's always coming from not your hand, so getting to pay the 1 instead of the cleave cost.
And also, like, 3 mana isn't efficient for other spells, but it's not the end of the world.
No, I mean, I've had washaways cast for the cleave, and I've cleaved it as well just to make it a cancel. Like, it's not terrible. All right, we do get to see Thalia.
Yep. Gaining Spencer some of the life back that he lost from that early advance from Tony.
Like you mentioned a minute ago, even though Tony still owns the Shadow Spear, because the keyword is being given to the creature that Spencer is in control of, he's actually the one gaining the life and not Tony, which is, if you've been playing Magic for a long time, old like Spirit Link effects did not work that way. So it's important to point out that it is a crucial difference between Life Link and those sort of Spirit Link effects.
Yeah. I think Tony's game plan, at least for the short term, is exactly either remove the Shadow Spear / the creature with the Shadow Spear, or play another creature so that you can just
trade with,
or you just take the Shadow Spear away. Yeah,
which will, if we don't see it killed here, we will likely see it grab the spear. But my guess is
that's a lot.
7 mana is a lot. I mean, he is having to deal with his own Thalia.
Maybe we just overtapped, but that's not against the rules.
I do think he technically overtapped, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. The Urtai should have cost 6, not 7, but doesn't seem like it changed the math.
As long as you're not undertapping.
Yes, we would. Even though we have our table judge, Brendan may also jump out from time to time.
That's not a spell.
The Kamigawa lands, while not only fantastic for Yoshimaru because they are legendary lands that could put +1/+1 counters on him when played, also obviously harder to interact with in the format. Like
Urtai being one of the few things that can.
Urtai, Stifle, those sorts of effects can deal with them, but because he was already in play, he gets to sort of get what he wanted out of that transaction because now his spear is off of a creature.
Right.
All right. Didn't see specifically. It looks like Tony was switching. Okay. You got any?
Zeke in chat. Mana burn for Spencer.
Yes, yeah. Thankfully, mana burn is no longer a thing.
Except for one commander.
Except for one, which it's your lock. For multiplayer, he seems great. I would love to see someone mess with him in Duel because it's certainly an attack axis that no one is even remotely thinking about. And Jund is cool. We haven't really seen too many Junds outside of like when I guess Andrew's also on his the dragon
Corvold.
Corvold.
One of our top 8 competitors, Josh Saylor, was on
Soul of Windgrace.
Soul of Windgrace.
You're right.
Very good like lands.
He's actually been on that deck for quite some time. So and he's definitely been fine tuning that deck. Missing out on the top 4 this time, but
I've been super happy talking with him about lands decisions because I've played Soul of Windgrace and Slogger, which are kind of the 2 land
You've
stacks.
been the green X land X.
And just Josh being able to find stuff that I didn't even know about, and like, it's so nice. The first time he squandered resources, somebody.
It's pretty good. We did see end of Tony's turn here. The flashback for the deluge. Thalia not in place, so he didn't get to see a full 8, but the 7's still pretty good. Surprising here at the amount of islands, despite it being a Dimir list. So I wonder if that's intentional for things like
definitely is.
Sanctuary,
Mystic Sanctuary. I think he also is saying he's blue first, black splash.
Sure.
Or maybe not splash, but like black, almost tertiary in terms of interaction.
Poor Yoshimaru here getting hit with the Blood Chief's Thirst, I believe is that one. The one that you can kick to make it hit a bigger creature. Parallax Tide is an interesting one.
Right.
So we're going to see him ripping Tony's lands from play here.
What's interesting is that Urtai's in play.
Yeah. It's possible he may have a way to sacrifice him. I think he's going for the long play of just ripping his resources away, so hopefully he just has a pretty miserable next 2 turns.
Right. Well, it would be 1 turn with how many lands he's ripping.
Right. Well, So the fading counter will keep them out for Tony's next turn, and then if he keeps one on, he won't get the lands back, because the way fading works, you'll get it back when you cannot remove a counter.
Oh,
so he'll actually so he'll actually have them for 2 turns.
Oh,
yeah. So because it's fading and not vanishing, it is pretty brutal.
Carries of. Okay, not carries of.
Yeah. Stern Scolding
from Lord of the Rings.
Fantastic Lord of the Rings addition to our format. Obviously, counters a creature that has a power or toughness 2 or less.
Yep. Oh, Joe.
Yeah.
Or judge for this evening.
Friendly local table judge
is also double checking because I too was confused.
Yeah. Well, especially with the way that we now have vanishing to replace that effect, it obviously can be a little confusing, but it is pretty detrimental here. I do think we miss a Urtai attack?
Life total wise?
Yeah. Or was Tony at 17 before?
I'm not sure.
I'm actually also not sure. Because Urtai is tapped. I'm wondering if he changed his life total at all.
I don't know.
Do you want to run out and just double check real quick to make sure? It's possible he might be tapped for another reason, but I want to make sure that we're trying to maintain the integrity of the game state for everybody who's watching. Or was he at 17 from...
The last time counter is removed from this permanent, sacrifice it. So when you removed the last counter from this, it should have gone away.
It looks like we may have another trigger situation going on here. Brendan has left the booth real quick, as our other resident judge here at the end games. He wants to make sure that there isn't any confusion with the table judge versus the game state. Cool. All right. So yeah, we did get the life
Joe
change.
was still discussing the
difference between fading versus vanishing. Yeah.
Which is why they hadn't updated it yet.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure because obviously, like, it looks like we did sort of shortcut through combat. So
yeah.
Just obviously the integrity, especially for a league where we are giving out some pretty substantial store credit prizing.
Yeah,
it is important to, and then a bankroll to us.
Well,
for us,
really, they're just fighting for the belt.
I mean, honestly, that is part of the glory. Is
the belt that Tony has already. He's trying to defend it.
He is going for the 2-peat that I could not do myself.
Nope.
It's really hard. We have a lot of great dual commander players in the area, and we had a great swelling of like new blood over the last 2 leagues.
Right, especially over the past year, we were going from like 10, 11, 16. Now we're at 30, 32.
Yeah, I mean the last league we had 32, right? 34,
something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Looks like we are fetching here finally for a 3rd black source.
And my brain is so happy at the even life totals of 11-11.
Right.
Will it stay there? No.
Who knows? My guess is no. We will get to see Tony get his lands back here, so and they will come in untapped because they were phased out. So
yep.
Important to know that if he has a giant instant speed like burn spell or something, we might see that fired off here. It is interesting and a little unfortunate from Spencer's end that speak of the devil.
Oh wow, okay. Called.
Yeah, Pyrokinesis is a very powerful removal spell, so I'm not surprised that we're seeing it fired off here. It is interesting we're seeing it for the full price and not like the pitch cost.
Well, like also force negation being the
it's
being hard cast instead of pitched.
Yeah.
That just kind of became the game that we're in.
Sometimes free spells get cast for their full price, you know,
or more.
Thalia loves to see them more. As I was about to say prior to the Pyrokinesis, interesting that despite having the 2-turn mana advantage, there wasn't really a ton that Spencer could do to capitalize outside of attacking for 3, which did level the life total playing field. Winota is a heck of a card. Yeah, that's a bit of a reader. So if I remember correctly, I believe it's every time you attack with a human, you look at the top. I never get this right. So every time you attack with a non-human, you can look at the top X, where X is the number of attackers, right?
Or you just look at the top.
It might be 6.
Yeah,
it might be a fixed number. I apologize. We don't have the card text directly in front of us. But you get to look at, I believe it's the top 5 or top 6 of your deck for a non-human, and then it also comes into play attacking. It's a very powerful card. It was banned as a commander in the format for obvious reasons. It's super useful. I mean, we saw it banned in I believe Pioneer as well.
Yep.
So like a very useful card. We are seeing Shoulder's Edict here on making him sack a non-token creature with the Cathar still in the stack. So my guess is we have another answer for that too.
Oh my gosh.
Looks like we did.
And Spencer has some of the blingiest stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's the regional championship or the secret layer like championships fatal push.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
that you
Yeah, I
get,
haven't seen
like,
that
you
one
have to
actually.
play like at a Magic Fest to get those,
Yeah, it looks like he opted.
or pay for it on the internet.
Looks like he opted to not have Urtai trigger. He would obviously the only option would be for him to kill his own creatures. So I
Right.
think he'd rather keep the pressure up.
And also, yeah.
But there is an opportunity there where he could have drawn a card. So it is important to denote that. Brennan is gonna take a step out here to just verify something real quick. Just taking a peek here. Looks like we've got 17 people in the chat right now, so obviously thank you everyone for watching along with us. We'll try our best to try to interact with the chat as we can. Obviously, with the setup we have kind of going, it's a new learning experience for both Brendan and myself, but we'll try to keep the interactions where we can for everyone. Looks like Brendan is still resolving the situation here.
That's nice that they can see.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, thankfully everyone else is still able to see what's going on here. For the lack of commentary here on our end, I mean, Tony was at 1, so I'm not surprised that was closed out there. The reason that we're stopping commentary when our stream goes off, obviously we're not able to see the table, but our commentary booth is right next to the play space, so we obviously don't want to give away information that may be pertinent to the lines that the players are playing against. So if you hear those pauses, it's really us trying to keep the integrity of the play for the players and them not hearing lines that we may be talking about that they might secretly trying to set up against their opponent.
The end of that game, we saw Spencer just like filling his graveyard, and what we missed was him escaping Cling to Dust twice just to get 2 cards.
Okay. Just to have that
completely refill, and then
the larger
Tony trying
hand.
that just drew him into more answers to do the thing. Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, we're getting some.
They're getting set up for the next game.
Yeah, we're getting some interesting behind the scenes stuff. Luckily, we have the stream here too that we can follow up on.
And this also has the chat.
Yeah, let's see if we have anything interesting going on here in the chat while we wait for the next game to start.
Said Tony bamboozled with the switch to Yoshi.
It's a little bit of a bamboozle. We did talk about that some. Thanks for jumping in and obviously like being part of the conversation. We did mention your Soul of Windgrace deck a little bit earlier.
That's sweet.
But yeah, we while it is a little bit of a out of the blue sort of switch, as someone who also enjoys switching decks throughout the league, I don't personally see too much of a negative too.
Right.
Because like really, if you're building a deck for our leagues, one, you know that people can switch decks from every lockout period, and two, really you should be building a well-rounded deck so that you're not playing pinpoint cards for specific decks in the meta.
Right.
And so that's why I personally don't think it's negative to allow people to switch for the top cuts, because yes, people may expect you to play a control deck and you show up with an aggro deck, which is kind of a 180. But if their deck is built in a way that they should be able to handle either deck, then it shouldn't be a problem which one they show up at the table
Speaking of something we haven't talked about yet is that both of us played in the league. Neither of us made top 8.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was 10th
right,
for our top 8 cut.
Lower. But what was your deck for this league?
So I had a couple different decks. So I actually took a key from you for the first 3 weeks playing Zamon and Dina. They are not really my thing, but I do understand why you liked that deck so much.
Yeah.
I love the Sultai color combination, and I wish that there were a better commander that spoke to me. It looks like Tony is taking a mulligan here.
Yeah.
So I had a rough start with them, and then I pivoted to Kalane, who is an uncommon Rakdos card who I'd been
From
playing.
Adventures in the Forgotten Realms?
Correct, yeah. So she's the one who comes in, makes a treasure, and then your creatures come in with +1/+1 counters equal to the number of treasures used when casting them.
Right.
So she was really just having a mana dork in your command zone in a Rakdos like half aggro, half control
Sure.
deck, and it was really fun. That one I did a little bit better with, so I entered 4-2, got 10th. Didn't quite make top 8, but I had a lot of fun with those 2 decks. Even the Zamon and Dina list, even though I didn't have great success with it, it's still a fun deck to pilot, so I really like at least giving it a try.
The reason he keeps throwing it to me is because that's the deck that I played for last league.
Oh yeah,
and did
you had
really
a
well with.
yeah, you had a
top
great
8.
time with it. Like it
And,
really spoke to you.
Like being able, and actually the process of it starting as a lands deck. Finding out it's not a lands deck, it's a Sultai control deck. Finding out it's not a Sultai control deck, it's a Sultai aggro deck, where the aggro part is just drawing extra cards. Was really just like a really fun experience for me that I then just immediately took apart because I kind of like I did the thing.
Right, you figured out the line, you had your fun, and obviously like building a deck where your win condition is also giving you answers to protect itself, to reestablish your board state if they go away. Like the fact that drawing cards is also your win condition in that deck is a great buffer.
I think Sultai just has the most powerful cards in Magic.
Yeah, I do love that combination.
And if you're drawing more of those, you're
probably doing something right. I mean, so we've talked about this some, obviously, with talking about Tony pivoting from his Tivit list. We've noticed Esper obviously does a really bang-up job in the format, so at least for me, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I do feel like Esper's probably the best color combination currently, but I do think that Sultai is pretty close. I think the problem they have versus Esper has a plethora of good commander choices, and Sultai has basically Zamon and Dina and Leovold, and that's about it.
And we have one local player that plays Tatsunari. Which
I
is
do
very
like that.
different
But it's a whole different deck because it's an Enchantress deck. And while I love the attack access of Tatsunari, and obviously like Grimshaw and I have played a bunch of matches, and I love that deck. Always does something that I'm not expecting it to do, and it's so unique. But it's a very niche market for what Sultai is set up to do. All right, looks like the mulligans have resolved here. I believe both players ended up mulliganing, but we do get that Yoshi on 1 as we are off to sea here. All right. And
this
looks
is
like
delayed.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thalia.
Yeah, getting that Thalia in there. Obviously a very powerful start here for Tony this time. The disruption on his end, along with the aggression from Yoshimaru getting bigger, is going to be really hard for Spencer to deal with. Already going to 17 with his fetch.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's exactly what Tony wants.
This is what he signed up for. I'm curious to see how much this Thalia impacts the game, because obviously she's coming down way sooner, and the Stranglehold on his mana could impact the game
I think
tremendously.
And also, last game, we didn't see Yoshimaru grow until turn 3.
Right.
And so, it wasn't a legendary land, but he was able to immediately grow Yoshimaru to 2 power. He's already done a bolt to his opponent.
In the first 2 turns. Yeah. Obviously, it helped a little bit with the fetch, but that was going to happen one way or another. So the fact that there's a high chance that we could see
you kind of
Yoshimaru
account for that when you're playing against multicolor decks anyway, where that's just 2.
I mean, you gotta include it in your math for sure.
Yeah.
We are seeing a much slower start here, so this could be detrimental, especially if he goes something like legendary land, legendary creature. Nope.
Okay, so maybe not legendary land.
No, we're going to see a fetch here. I'm wondering if we're going to see something like Boromir again. We could also see Karizev again. We could see something like Alelia.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of Alelia.
Yeah. Again, I don't have the full list for Tony ahead of us. Our deck checks were done by our organizer Kendall prior to the stream.
Squee.
Now this is a fan favorite for myself as well. Having played Dahada a couple leagues ago, Squee was an all-star.
Before that got banned as a commander.
Yeah, Squee was an all-star in that list.
And you get to attack with everything.
There's a lot of damage coming through. Even if he has like a bounce spell, we're seeing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total.
Out, unless it's a free one.
Yeah.
But what free bounce spells are there?
Yeah. So that's a huge swing here. It's very likely that we may go to game 3 in no time. Tony just presenting the Goblin token there that Squee makes.
So if Tony has nothing, that's 2, 5. How big is Squee? 2/2.
2/2.
So 5, 7, 8, 9. That's lethal if Tony
Yeah,
has
if he has nothing else, it's already
Right.
lethal. Yeah,
And-
which is obviously not what
Right.
Spencer was hoping for. Because even like a Deluge doesn't save him now because it costs
Right.
an extra mana.
Right.
Notable here, you and I have talked about Force of Despair in small talks. That would have been an absolute
Right.
like game ender
Right.
for.
And he had the 1 mana open for it.
Yeah. All right, this looks like it. There may be like a bounce here, but let's see.
Oh, Vendilion Click.
Okay, so we are going to get at least a blocker here. Tony's still going to be shooting in for 4-6 total, so he's still going to, if he has like a bolt or something, this still could be very detrimental.
Right. Oh, something that I missed, Iconjo, which was the Lamp Returns legendary.
Right, so it did put a
Yoshimaru
counter on
go
Yoshimaru.
larger.
Yeah. So yeah,
So that changes the math even
definitely
more.
putting the pressure up. Obviously, like
Oh,
having the Iganjo to like make sure that Yoshimaru doesn't like die in combat
Right.
would have been nice, but the +1/+1 also does that same job for him here.
And then also, I think Spencer might be thinking about targeting himself with the click, just
Yeah,
to try to dig for an answer.
Yeah, I do think that's what's happening here. So it looks like he may be, nope, changing his mind here. All right, presenting a miscalculation, looks like.
Because I believe click is look and then reveal, not reveal first.
Correct, yeah. You look at the hand and then reveal the card that's being put on
Right.
the bottom, and then you draw another card. So yeah, likely blocking Yoshimaru, I'm guessing. Maybe trying to get Squee out of play. The problem there is if he can put another card or two in his discard pile, we're just going to see Squee all over again.
Yeah, I think this is less. I think Spencer's just under the assumption it's board wiper bust.
Yeah.
Or, oh my
Yeah, it
gosh,
looks
Embercleave.
like- yeah.
And Embercleave's legendary.
Sure is.
That?
Yeah, that is
We
another
were-
that's another card I have not got the sleeve up in our format that I
Right.
probably should.
It's gotten me a few, like the Michael Denfeld won our first league when we came back from COVID with a Judith aggro deck that was playing Embercleave. And the first time I got Embercleaved, it was like just
Oh, it's an immediate
whiplash.
it's an immediate feel bad, especially if you're like, oh, they only have like 2 creatures in play, like I'll be fine. And then you realize like they're getting pumped and now you're getting double struck and
Right.
pumped, like they're pumping
Double
them again.
struck.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a problem.
And it's awesome seeing Tony's list, like these cards that I've interacted with before just kind of pop up, and then you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that was legendary.
I think someone's calling you out here, mentioning that Spencer's deck should be triple sleeved.
Ooh, yeah. I think his might be more expensive than mine, but yeah, speaking of what we were playing for the league, yeah, my
Oh
deck,
right, we never actually went over your deck. So.
well, they started playing,
That's
which
true.
is way more
How
important.
how
than-
rude of them to play their match that we're commentating.
Right. So I had a triple sleeve deck for the league, which was a lot because I had a lot of shuffling. But I was on Commodore Guff, which was a Planeswalker
yes.
control deck with the goal of playing as few creatures as possible, so I get to do things like balance more effectively.
What a
But
messed up
also,
Magic card.
yeah, it's great. But also, especially because there's so much creature-based win cons in our format, I wanted to blink a good like 30% of the instants and sorceries in my opponent's deck, where they're going to be playing like a Fatal Push against my Planeswalker deck does 0.
It does kill your monks or whatever that.
I
guy
mean,
makes,
sure, but if you're using a Fatal Push
very
on a
low
monk,
impact
like,
for you. Yeah.
like, and also for the Planeswalkers part 2, it gains. It's almost like I'm gaining life when. Oh, okay.
Okay. Sorry, we were also
We
being
have
distracted
yeah,
a little bit by chat there.
Yeah. What was it? Oh, you attack my planeswalkers. Like you attack a planeswalker for 5. I gained 5 life.
Right.
Which life
Which
gain,
you and I have
even
talked about.
pseudo life gain,
Right.
is so important for this format. It's so tuned for 20 damage exactly.
Right. Yeah. For anyone who maybe has played.
And Landon, and the size of the deck was intimidating.
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The triple sleeve tower is a monstrosity to behold.
I think, yeah.
You did not go for the full quad sleeve though, so I have no respect for you.
No, no respect. Well, you didn't have respect for me.
No, yeah, that's
Anyway.
true. Well, I mean, you don't have to talk about that on air.
What I appreciate is every time I sat down to play a league match, someone, not even my opponent, oftentimes would just be
someone in
like,
the
"Good
area."
God, great Scott!"
Yeah. What were we just speaking about before the triple sleeve? I had a comment I wanted to make.
About them or about me?
What the comment we were making ahead of time? What we were just speaking about
About Guff?
Yes. Oh, right. The life total. So for those who maybe haven't played the format in a while or are unaware of the history of the format, it initially used to be a 30 life format. And so several years ago, it was changed to 20 life to kind of more reflect the fact that it's a lot more like Legacy than like Commander.
Yep.
And so using your Planeswalkers as a way to sort of cheekily convince your opponent that it's better to hit them and get them off the board than your own life total kind of resets you, not exactly to 30, but gets you back to that buffer zone that you're hoping for. And it's one thing that you and I have kind of talked about, so I just wanted to bring it up that like for those of you who aren't thinking about Planeswalkers in that way, especially in this format, I think it's important to think about it.
Ooh, not even turn one Yoshimaru.
Different start
turn
this
one
time.
Esper Sentinel. Trying to get that card draw.
Yeah, Esper Sentinel, very powerful card here. So I do think that's going to be a good one for Tony in the long run for this match, especially with the fact that Spencer's starting this game this time.
Right.
He
a brainstorm
is probably planning for the long game this time.
Yep. It looks like he paid the one.
I believe so. I mean, honestly, like respecting the Sentinel, especially knowing that you're going to be playing for the long game, I think is important.
No, that makes sense.
And if you're not doing anything else with that mana anyway, like I think it's totally fine.
It's oftentimes the emotional.
Sure, yeah, the baggage behind paying the one, I guess, could deter people from wanting to do it, but I think it's fine. Especially like this early in the game, like I don't think the tempo loss for paying the one is going to matter too much.
What I'm laughing at is our behind the scenes main man Nathan picking his art preference for Brainstorm before putting it on screen.
I will say I do like that art, so I appreciate the extra effort. All right, looks like we've got Yoshi coming out now, which makes sense, especially with the added shields down by tapping out to respect the Esper Sentinel.
Oh, this is an alt art. I'm not feeling. Is this Grim Lava?
I believe it's Lava Mancer.
Sure.
Yeah, looks like it is. All right. Let's see what we've got planned here.
Land. Easy. Step 1, land.
Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, and pass. Okay, I didn't realize that was the only step to this plan.
Well,
but it counts.
I'm sure he's got some other tricks up his sleeve.
Minas Tirith, that's a legendary land.
Sure is. For those of you unaware with Minas Tirith, it's one of the new legendary lands from Lord of the Rings. So it comes to play tapped unless you control a legendary creature, which obviously Yoshimaru is in play. And then you can pay 1 and a white and tap it to draw a card, but only if you've attacked with 2 more creatures this turn. So not only is he getting to get a counter onto Yoshimaru, but he's setting up to refill his hand as the game goes longer.
Following that up with, it looks like Boromir.
Yeah, again, was a pretty powerful card in the first. Yeah, in the first match. Didn't get him there in the long run for game 1, but I do think that he is a threat worth respecting enough that he probably messed up some of the math for Spencer in the first game.
And honestly, like, if you look at the board state, you'd be forgiven for not realizing that Tony went second.
Right. It doesn't feel like he was on the draw this game, but
and also this is a fun play. This is Spencer trying to steal Yoshimaru with Archmage's Charm.
Yeah. Not a mode you see too often in this format, but a very powerful one in this particular match.
The big 2 targets were Ragavan when that was legal.
Right, which is no longer legal,
and now Merit Lage is kind of the only one that's...
Right, to try to save yourself from...
you just steal the Merit Lage.
Yeah. So it looks like he...
Creeping Tar Pit is Land Portrait?
Yep. It looks like he did take the hit as well from the other 2 creatures, so... Speaking of art preferences, I do really like the Creeping Tar Pit art from the new Doctor Who stuff.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Have you seen it in Search Foil yet?
No.
Oh.
That and the Celestial Colonnade, 2 lands that see a lot of play in this format for us. They have fantastic art now because of the Doctor Who art. So if you are into that sort of thing, I would take a look at them because they are phenomenal, especially like the borderless ones.
Right. And that every like rare card had like so many art variants and things that like you can get fancy fiery islets and
the fact that the Horizon lands were reprinted was very nice. Looks like we're getting a Swords to Plowshares on the Yoshimaru here. Spencer thinking about whether it's worth gaining the life or giving him back this commander or protecting it. But it looks like he is choosing to let the tempo swing happen.
To be honest, Spencer, that's kind of what Spencer wanted to do anyway. It was just he can't counter Yoshimaru.
And he lost no resources, right? Because like the Archmage's Charm already was a combat buffer and gained him 3 extra life. So like that seems like a perfectly reasonable
combat
trade for him.
Swim for everybody.
Yeah. So going into the red zone here for 5. Again, speaking about Boromir from earlier, the fact that he's a 3/3 for 3 with Vigilance already like such a good card.
Ooh, Hullbreacher.
All right, Hullbreacher here is interesting.
Tony does have a lot of mana open, but it looks like he's letting him go to blocks.
Yeah.
Hullbreacher famously banned in regular Commander, but still legal here.
Right. It's a little more tailored to the fact that we are a more competitive format than the potential casualness of multiplayer. So like you will see things like Hullbreacher, you'll see things like Opposition Agent, where like those may be a little more faux pas for like the...
And also like with the ban list being different, like Primeval Titans, kind of the big one that I see in green decks, that Primeval Titans banned in regular Commander, legal here. Hullbreacher banned in regular Commander.
Yeah, I think it's notable to see like the difference in philosophy for the ban list for this versus the multiplayer
and also compared to like 4 of formats too, because like Oko is legal in this, but Ragavan's not.
Right. It looks like we're seeing Yoshi again here.
Yeah, for 3.
Yeah, but still a pretty reasonable rate for that creature. Interesting to note here the fact that he blocked Esper Sentinel and not Boromir. I guess he didn't want to trigger the sack effect from Boromir, but I think
it was more he didn't want to trade, because that would have been a trade.
Right, but I think that's still fine because he's going to likely trade the Hullbreacher in a turn or 2 anyway, and it's probably going to be for
but Esper
Boromir
Sentinel is
anyway.
extra cards.
Yeah, but he's already got Minas Tirith, so like he's already has the card draw engine that he wants anyway. And I mean, like, I guess it's if you don't want the tax in play,
right?
But he's been playing with the tax already. Like, I think he's only drawn a single card so far from
Right,
and with Lavamancer here, like, I feel like Boromir might have been the better block there. I could be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong about that.
But this is something that you can trigger with Urtai.
Yes, that's true.
Counter with Urtai, and you get the treasure, like because you
right, because he'll draw a card and then you get the treasure instead. Another interesting.
Or you might even decide to counter destroy something else.
Well, he also could kill his own Hullbreacher if he wants the card.
Sure. Yeah.
So like it's interesting to see what he.
If he's losing it anyway, you might as well get some value out of it.
Right, rather than giving his opponent the card. All right, looks like he's...
So I'm not sure what Urtai's targeting, but solid. Oh, because Urtai isn't resolved yet.
Right, so while he's on the stack, he's...
Yeah, evoking
so he's not giving him the opportunity to potentially make that line.
Oh, so Urtai was entered and did try to counter the ability.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to figure out if we can have them kind of denote that a little clearer. But thankfully we figured it out. All right, looks like we've got Minds of Moria, I think, coming into play here.
Shokunzan.
Is it Shokunzan? Oh, okay,
yeah.
Sorry. They have very similar from a distance.
There's fire.
Yeah, it's red. It's legendary.
And we've introduced the initiative.
Oh, interesting. Okay. This is the adventurer guy, right?
Yeah, Caves of Chaos Adventurer.
Which is he trample or haste? I can't
5/3 with trample.
Okay.
And other text that mainly gets you the initiative, which is a trap in 2 turns. Right.
The only thing we usually see in this format is I believe it starts with the scry, then the 2 counters.
You get a land first.
And the land. Land first, then you put 2 counters on a creature, and then they lose 5. That is the path that almost everybody goes down with initiative in this, because it just changes the clock like crazy. Right. So it's possible that he may divert depending on what happens. Like if a board wipe happens, he may go down a different path, but my hunch is that we'll see that exact path happen, because it's just backbreaking if it happens unhindered. Interesting to see the Sokenzen come in as a land, but I guess the Adventurer is 5. I believe
was no combat.
No, remember it. Oh, you're right. Yeah, because the Lavamancer was for the activation, not for
Yeah.
combat.
Do
so,
you
yeah.
think that Tony intentionally was like, let me save up my creatures for a big attack next turn?
It's possible. I mean, it's also possible that he...
Or there was
if
so
he-
much stuff going on that
Well, if he's only planning to attack with, like, Yoshi,
then, yeah.
then he's going to have to sack Boromir. If he attacks with Boromir and Yoshi and he blocks Yoshi, he's going to have to sack Boromir anyway. So
And also, we talked about Urtai's way better off the battlefield. And
Right.
combat would get Urtai off the battlefield.
Right. Well, unless he blocks Boromir, because then he can sack the Boromir. But my hunch is that he would block Yoshimaru.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, so 2+1 Will Zone counters going on Yoshimaru because of the initiative.
Mhm. I can hear the
Oh, yeah.
the frantic
hand,
card
the hand,
flips from
the
here.
hand
They
shuffle is
are
real.
in the tank.
Yeah.
Sunbay Canyon. That's not legendary.
No, but it is drawing a card. So again,
You
talking
know
about
what?
the late game.
Co-host Christopher Kreitzman,
Yes, that's me.
you're legendary,
Thank you. Local celebrity, as I've been called.
and I'm just here.
You're
I see how it is.
your local celebrity, your friendly neighborhood Kreitzman.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we haven't talked about that on stream yet.
Oh, about your
today's
maximum
episode is brought to
desire.
you by me,
Wanting to play Spider-Man.
and I care about you guys so much that I am not playing Spider-Man 2 right now.
Yeah, which he has been literally talking about for the last, 11 hours.
At least.
At least. I mean, at least to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
No
It's
actions?
like, yeah.
So like, some.
Yeah, regular REL.
Right, looks like there might be some sort of discussion going on here.
I mean, in
I'm curious
the
as to
data
know
of the
what
GP, they actually let me do that, but
it's about.
so I'm not allowed to put it back.
Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, did he make a second land drop or something? Is that what happened?
No, I think it might have been a discussion about taking back the land per turn.
Oh, because nothing else of the board state has changed, so
Yeah.
he may have realized he played the wrong land. Because the board state didn't change between playing the land and not playing the land, I can see where our table judge
Oh,
may have
actually,
granted that.
I know what happened.
Sure.
Spencer showed me a flash of Vendilion Click.
I mean, gotta come back.
Oh, okay. And yeah. Never mind.
No, I think there was just a miscommunication for something, possibly.
Oh, because Caves, when it attacks, you can play the cards that he exiles.
I see.
So he was, taking back the land drop just in case you have a land on top.
Sure. As far as competitive goes, it's definitely possible that it could have been ruled that the land is in place, so it's kind of final. But I think the nature of
At
the
the-
event here,
Right. At the rules enforcement that we're at, that is playing a land is a free action that doesn't pass priority. So as long as no other game actions have happened since then, that is something you could take back. It's just an oopsie
at least
that you
at least
gave.
in our with
Right. It's just kind of an oopsie that you gave your opponent more information than you were supposed to. It's not against the rules to tell your opponent what cards you
to
have
show
in
them
hand.
cards or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, this is swinging too. I didn't realize you were swinging that. I'm sorry.
All right, looks like we're
I will
setting up blockers here. All right, so it looks like he is going to offer the trade with Boromir, which likely means we will see the Boromir, unless he wants the Urtai off the battlefield. It's possible we may see him sack to get the ring trigger. Nope, not letting it happen.
I mean, at a certain point, an Urtai for 6 with the board state where this is might not be worth it.
Right, that's definitely possible. I mean,
But it is something he can do now.
right. I do think that if he's not playing enough ways to trigger the ring effects, that sacking for the indestructible may not be worth it for him. So, all right, so we are seeing the land drop now.
Right. And then Tony is playing Seasoned Dungeoneer, which importantly is another initiative creature.
Right, which will let him go further into the dungeon here, which will be the 5 damage if it resolves. Which giving him the Urtai back just means that he's likely going to Urtai it, right? Unless he has another cheaper option. It's also possible that he may want to. Yeah, looks like he's cleaving the wash away.
Though he shouldn't have to.
Yeah. Do you want to go back and?
I mean,
I guess it's not an illegal
right.
thing. That's kind of a bummer though.
Yep.
Because it was not coming from his hand. So that's a bit of a bummer, but I don't. Hopefully that won't
But
change. The
yeah,
tempo
I
of
don't
the
think
game
that
too
was.
much.
I don't think that's
But
changing.
you're right. That is technically not an illegal play. So,
Right. It's
but
something we talked about
it is
with
an etiquette one that I would be
Right.
if I were playing. I would mention to my opponent. But
Sure.
obviously not a requirement
Right.
of any sort.
Oh, there was a Lelia in hand. Get that out.
I called. She was in there.
Get that out.
She's so powerful.
Yeah, that's so much card advantage in one card that is just so impossible to deal with. Oh, and a Grim Lavamancer
Yeah.
after the Vendilion click resolves to get rid of it. That might have been another reason not to Urtai as well, so that Grim Lavamancer just doesn't rips it away.
Right, because he hits all the man open. One thing to note here, which could be interesting, is he can delay the 5 damage or counter the 5 damage altogether with Urtai because of the trigger from
Sure.
the initiative. So it's possible that he may be sandbagging it for that as well, especially with the big combat that's likely to happen next turn.
Flooded Strand. Also not legendary.
Notably not legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary in our hearts, though.
Especially the Zendikar Rising art that he
Oh, yeah. Those are my personal favorites as well for those. Constantly checking that initiative.
My favorite Flooded Strands are Onslaught foils, and you can send them to my P.O. box.
Feel free to send them to Brendan at right here in my hands.
Just Sharpie on the card, Brendan, and put it in a mailbox, and I will find it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It'll get here.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you mail Santa a letter, and he always gets it, even if you don't actually know.
Yeah,
his
I mean,
address.
our postal service is smart enough. They can figure out where it's going.
If they can find Santa, they can find me.
Yeah, they'll know. You have a much bigger like social media footprint than Santa probably.
You
As far as well,
he has like the free publicity of like every kid in the world knows him.
right, but that's why he doesn't have to post anything himself, right? So,
Oh yeah, he doesn't have like a Facebook.
right.
Ooh, Shieldred's Edict. I'm guessing for non-token creature.
I would also guess that.
Yeah. Seeing as there's no
I mean,
tokens
the
and
downside
no
here is it's
planeswalkers.
going to be the Lavamancer.
Right, but like you got to start whittling away now
That's true.
before it's too late.
Pardon me. All this talking.
So ominously.
I will say a downside for him here is he did not keep up enough mana for Urtai, so I'm guessing he's just
Yeah,
going to
that
take
was
the
just
5
not-
to the face.
Possible, yeah.
Looks like he might be in the tank here thinking about his life decisions.
Yeah. I think part of it was that game 1 went so well
Yeah.
that for
I mean, we're likely going to see some sort of removal spell from Yoshi, I believe. Or is the Adventurer, how big is the Adventurer? Is he
It's a
5/3?
5/3,
Yeah.
so lethal's on board, and with that legendary land, lethal's on board 2 ways.
Yeah. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's Yoshi time.
Yoshi time.
Looks like he's trying to move to combat.
Oh, going into 4. That means he has to have.
Yeah, 4 is
something.
the same as 5 for him at this point. So unless he, I'm assuming he's either gonna like
My
Cryptic.
hope is Mystic Confluence.
Confluence would be
Like,
really useful
bounce.
here. We could also see
Or Cryptic, like tap your team, draw a card.
Right, tap your team and draw is worse than the confluence of double bounce plus
Right.
draw, but still keeps him alive.
Right. Though actually,
We also could see. I seriously doubt it's in the deck, but we could see something like an Aether Spouts, which puts them on the top
Oh.
or bottom of your opponent's
Yeah.
deck. I don't think people are on that
okay,
deck
the fact
in this,
that
but
he allowed him turn sideways is
okay. It looks like we're gonna see a Creeping Tar Pit block.
right.
Which is a
but
bit of a
that-
desperation.
right.
but
That shouldn't.
that plus bounce spell.
Okay. Plus, Creeping Turpet trades with the caves because it's a 5/3.
Right. And then looks like
Oh, using the Turpet for mana.
Yep.
Oh, for a drown. That's
so trying to reset the board. Looks like he is gonna probably try to draw some cards potentially. Any sort of protection spell here is obviously a huge
Right.
blowout, but I don't think he's playing any that we've seen yet. Other than like
Right.
they might be like a God's Willing or something potentially, but
Yes,
I don't know just because like Mother Rune effects are probably so much better in that deck.
And like Boromir is in play, and so we've got Menace Tirith as an option to draw.
Right. It looks like you
got-
might just try to dig to find like an answer to the drown.
Yep.
But my guess is Yoshi probably will be going.
And
to the
Caves has trample, so if he finds like an Igonjo even,
also maybe digging for like a lightning bolt or something.
removal spell for the Creeping Tar Pit,
Right. Well,
a non-swords removal spell.
that's right.
Fine. So it tramples.
Oh, Mana Tithe.
3 hour use.
That would be quite a blowout as well.
Oh, that would be spice.
Yeah.
That did not happen. But Spencer is at 1. And
And Yoshi again.
Sure.
The rate's just so good on Yoshimaru.
5 mana though, I don't know if it is, but it is an inevitable.
I mean, when your opponent's at 1.
Oh wait,
Wait a minute.
Any amount of
and
mana
he starts
for
with how
lethal.
much?
he starts with my life total. Is
a light breeze kills my
He's
opponent.
not.
You say.
He's not a Birds of Paradise. That's an 0-1.
Yeah. This is definitely a tough spot to be in. Thankfully, he does have Urtai here. So that at least buys him another turn. Tony is on 7
Assuming
mana.
there's nothing
so,
else, right?
Right, but he's also on 7 mana, so it's possible that
So for the dungeon,
he may
we got
just
to
go
draw
for
a card.
attack. Right, the dungeon level that he's on is draw a card. The next one is absolutely insane, so if he gets to that, that's a big problem. I think the game's probably going to end before that, though. It looks
Rim
like...
Carrerless?
Ooh, that's a nice one. So your burn spells do +1, right?
Yeah.
I believe is the mode on that.
But mainly it has at least 1 power.
And he's a fly. Is he flying haste? I know he flies.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has haste. I think he just
I
flies.
think he might.
Well, we'll see here. It looks like we are going to see Urtai counter that and draw, or kill it and draw. We're not sure which, but my
I
guess
think
is
counter because
I don't think
Tony
you
has
can-
so many more ways.
Right,
to...
you can't afford to give Yoshimaru the token.
Oh, there it
And
is.
then we got a Feldon, and
And there's
that
the
does
handshake.
that does have haste, so
Yeah.
that does kill him.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, great. So
That was
was a heck of a
ooh,
match.
4th Yolinga's in there too. We got a free preview of some of the stuff we're going to see from Tony later.
From the final. So Tony will be making it his way to the finals here. Our next match, for those who are interested, is going to be Zach, who is also playing Feldon, so nice sneak peek with the board state there, versus Casey, who is on Elminster. And Casey will be on the play for that match.
Yeah.
So we're going to kick it back over to Nathan real quick. We'll be taking a break, and then we'll be right back with our next match.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much, Chris and Brendan. We will be taking a 10-minute break, so we will be back with the next match at 10:47. So thank you so much for joining us so far. We'll be back in 10 minutes at 10:47.
We're good? Perfect. All right. All right, everyone. We are back here. Again, Brendan and myself.
Wait, are we doing our own intro this time?
Yeah, it looks like it.
I miss Nathan's voice already.
I'm so lonely already. So again, for those of you who may have just tuned in, we are going to have Casey on the left here with Elminster, with Zach on the right playing Felden. We also had, based on seeding from our event,
I know what some of those cards are.
based on our seeding from our event, Casey is going to have the opportunity to play or draw first.
Yep.
Which
We had all our even seeds make it to top 4. So
very
Casey was our 2 seed. Zach was our 6 seed. So Casey will have the play draw decision here. Important for next round is that Tony being the 4 seed, that'll also kind of play into it where Casey will have play draw,
yeah,
but Zach won't.
it's possible that Casey may go first or Zach may have to go second depending on who wins. It does look like we are underway already. Getting a fetch here for one of his come to play tapped duels. Looks like it's the snow one, if I'm not mistaken.
This is Casey's first league with Elminster, and it's been
been
blowing
great.
people
Yeah, he's been
away.
absolutely dominating with this deck. Last league he played Kinnan combo, I believe, the Simic combo deck. And this time just playing hard.
And a little bit of the in-between, he was trying Grist,
Right.
Which is something that Spencer had for last league as well.
Right, yeah. The nice thing, so you can see, obviously, Casey and Spencer on the same Humbro Pie, on the same playing team.
Yep.
And so they were experimenting with kind of each other's decks to see what ideas they may have for this new league that came up, and Casey ending up on Elminster.
And I'm jealous.
It's really strong.
It's exactly what I
Oh,
want
it's
to be
it's a
doing
perfect it's a perfect U deck.
Yeah. Oh, Spell Snare for Smuggler's Copter is wonderful, and I'm so sad to see that get Spell Snare.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal there. Not going to be able to get his attack in for 3 next turn with the Felding.
Humbro Pry teammate in the chat, James.
Absolute wonder and all-star, James Andrus in the chat. And then Casey's one-woman cheer team with Rachel.
Right.
She's really excited to see Casey go the distance here, so we'll see.
Control
if he
mages
can,
in
if he
the
can
chat
deliver.
are just overtaking.
Oh yeah, the power of the white mage is hopefully flowing from Rachel to Casey.
Right. And really, so Zach, we haven't really talked about his list yet. He's on mono red. This is a list that he's been perfecting over multiple weeks and months.
Yes, yeah.
He's been like really getting into the math of how to get to that 20 life total as efficiently as possible.
Yep, we've seen a couple people in our local meta play Feldon. We had him, Alex, Dan Hunter also played Feldon. So we've had a lot of mono red. So I think there's a lot of being able to iterate off of each other, kind of the standing on the shoulders of giants sort of going on with everybody sort of comparing notes and figuring out what the best 100 for mono red might be.
Right. And the red mages in chat, of course, are on Team Zach for this
Yes,
match.
yeah. We've had the battle of the red mages versus the battle of the white mages here.
Right. And I think for Zach, one of the hurdles is that Casey's removal isn't normally damage based.
Right.
Which is something that Feldon really thrives in, is when you're going up against other red / like Rakdos control.
Yeah. Of note here, it did look like we missed a Feldon into Mana Leak.
Yes.
So just want to make sure that we comment on that there. All right, looks like we're getting Feldon again here. And I'm not able to see.
I don't know what that is. Neither does Zach.
Not something. Oh, looks like it's a Forgotten to Legend.
Oh, right.
Or Fade to Legend or whatever.
Yeah,
the Lord of the Rings one that puts it fourth from the top.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, that one.
It puts a historic permanent, right?
Yeah, it's a. It has to specifically be a historic, non-land permanent.
Yeah.
Fourth
Lost
from
to
the top.
Legend.
Yeah, there we go. We'll have that up here for those of you in a second.
Yeah, there you go.
It's still a newish card. Obviously, Lord of the Rings has been out for a little bit, but during our last league, I believe we didn't have them access to them. So for this league, these are basically brand new.
Right.
And there's a lot of good ones.
Yep.
Interesting that he did decide to tuck the Feldon. So it is possible that if we see some sort of shuffle effect from Casey's side, Zach may just be out of luck with no commander for the rest of the match.
He's really just got to keep playing spells until Casey runs out of stuff, which is going to be tough. But I think in Zach's mindset, he's not at 6 mana anytime soon.
Sure.
So
and
if he draws it as a 2-drop, that's a lot better than him having it just set aside as a 6-drop.
The opportunity to play it again at 2 versus 6 is obviously going to be a big impact here.
Tony jumping into chat.
Speaking of fan clubs, looks like we have someone named Tony Perry 92 commenting on Tony's game. Yeah,
Perry is
it's probably a coincidence if nothing else.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if someone had my name, is this another cryptic command I can't read?
It sure is.
That's great.
Yeah, the invocations while
Spencer and
while
Casey
looking great in concept, miserable to read. And
actually, I know I've said this, but I play the no text cryptic command, so I have no.
But at least that one that's one's easier to recognize because of the Merfolk hand with the swirl.
Sure.
But yeah, for
but
those
equal
of
amount of
those of you who would
text.
like to know what the modes of cryptic command are, it's right there for you.
Elminster?
Elminster is in the mix.
Plus, you scry. Minus, you make bugs / dragon things.
They're fairy dragons. It's either fairy dragons or they're
dragons.
They might just be blue dragons, maybe.
And then your spells cost less for the someone else in chat. Their spells cost less for the amount that you scry. So Elminster, the turn he comes down, unless you want to do a blind flip of some bugs.
Usually he'll be doing the Serum Visions, right? Because it's draw then scry.
Oh, you're right. It is draw then scry.
Yeah. So we get the plus is Serum Visions. The bottom is exile the card to make 1/1 flyers. And then he has the static of whenever you scry your next spell this turn costs X less, where X is the number you scry.
Right.
Which is probably going to matter quite a lot.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we've got an activation for Den of the Bugbear here.
Why throw mana into something that could get interacted with a Force of Will or something when you can pressure with your land base?
Yeah, it does look like he's going after Elminster, I think. Nope. Okay, there's a miscommunication on his part. Look, I thought he pointed at the Elminster, but I think I was mistaken. So yeah, this is gonna be one. Obviously.
Oh, Lithomantic Barrage.
Yeah, to do
5.
Yeah. And then, to what I was saying there. Creature lands obviously big in most formats, and this one in particular, obviously every avenue of damage you can get at your opponent is super crucial, especially in the mono red.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll see things like Mutavault, like Mishra's Foundry.
I mean,
like
Zach
Den.
already has Faceless Haven in play as well. So if
right, and
Casey
actively
does have a removal
playing
spell for the
Snow.
Den,
Right.
yeah, you have an opportunity to do a Faceless Haven.
Right, so a lot going on here. The nice
Elminster's
thing
drawing
with
strike.
him not choosing to attack Elminster is he gets another Serum Visions here. So obviously sculpting his hand quite a lot. His next spell this turn is going to cost 2 less. So he's got a lot of options here. Let's see. Looks like we're getting the
3-drop
Teferi.
Time Raveler.
I do believe Elminster is specifically Instant Sorcerer. Yeah, so he still has that discount if he uses it, but it looks like he just passes the turn.
And also Casey holding up 4 mana. That's decidedly the board wipe amount of mana.
Right,
So-
and he can play it at sorcery,
Right.
sorcery at instant speed, so it's possible you could see like a verdict here if he activates his creature land. That it could be completely catastrophic.
Right.
All right. Looks like he is going to go for it though.
I think that might be better than using the cards in your hand.
I think
right?
so,
Because-
and like you mentioned, he does have Faceless Haven as backup, so
Right.
not necessarily the end of the world, but is
and I
a
don't
little
think
annoying.
Casey's winning anytime soon. So this will allow him.
It does look
to
like he's gonna attempt to attack him directly, so we
ratchet
are
down
seeing,
instant speed. Yep.
yeah, Teferi is going to be a hard one for him to deal with because not being able to play his burn spells at instant speed, having to deal with board wipes now at instant speed, it's going to be tough. Yeah, Rachel calling out Teferi. Teferi, obviously an incredibly powerful planeswalker.
Who knew?
In most formats he's in, turns out.
Actually, I think everyone knew. Oh, we're exiling Shark Typhoon. That's
Sweet.
6.
So it looks like we're going to get 6 1/1s, flying 1/1s here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Classic.
Classic no
Ooh-wee,
token.
is that
They
bad.
are obscure tokens, so I'm not surprised. Hopefully, Tigner may be able to put like a card behind it or something to denote that they're tokens, but those are going to be our 6 1/1s. Yeah, and just showing here, the Shark Typhoon was what was exiled with Elminster, so that's why we're getting the 6 1/1s from
If this doesn't get, if this isn't something we fix now, we'll try to fix it for games 2 and 3.
as far as tokens, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We definitely are likely going to see some number of them from the Elminster deck because obviously that is one way to put the shields back up.
That's probably the win con.
Yeah.
Also, 6/1/1s, they block forever.
They block forever. He also has a Colonnade in play, so you also might just 10 him next turn.
Yeah, 2-turn clock, sure.
Yeah. Here comes that Feldon from the Lost to Legend again. Looks like he's going to serve it
combat,
in.
sure.
Likely.
Well, that's good because, like, if he goes... Oh, okay, no blocks. I would say if Casey did decide to block, that's cards that Zach
right.
didn't
I do
use.
think he was trying to offer the let me please draw a card option. But Casey wise to the trick there. And 9 life with the Teferi in play, knowing that you can't be gotcha'd with burn spells is pretty safe.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Looks like we got
Castle Ardenvale, make another 1/1.
yeah. We did miss the Ardenvale coming into play, but yeah, so
Oh my
got our
God.
alternate 1/1 here. we'll see what we can do between games here about the token situation, just for clarity's sake for everybody. So for those of you who may have looked away for a second, the token that's underneath the deck topper is a 1/1 human, and the 6 is 6 flying. Fairy dragons. We haven't decided which one it is yet.
And we may never.
The world may never know.
Yeah. They're definitely blue.
Can confirm blue.
Yeah, and
I do know that
they've got
fact.
kind of like a smirk. You know what I mean?
I don't, but I want to.
Okay.
But I want to know.
Well, I would show you, but then that would confirm whether or not they're fairy
yeah,
dragons.
that's fair. So
And-
interesting here, we could see a gigantic discount here because he's going to be scrying and then likely scrying again. So it's possible he actually may have scryed already, so he might have mistimed that because I believe that Elminster was initially on
He got
one.
the Pyridane, I believe,
from the Serum Vision
Serum
effect.
Visions, yep.
Yeah, okay, so that's possible. Well, quite a bummer because he could make a gigantic discount for a turn, but
Yeah.
opting to do it now,
Honestly,
I think it's
don't
fine.
think Casey needs it at this point. He's got
I think he's just trying
2
to.
board wipes in hand.
Yeah.
One of them a lot worse right now because it's balanced, but the other one being Terminus, like...
I mean, worse is subject, right? Because like he has full control of the board and he has his own creature land. So like, if Zach plays another threat or animates his creature land, it's very possible we might see him balance anyway because his tokens are irrelevant because he has such dominance over the board state right now.
I see what you mean. Oh, more Teferis.
What if another Teferi?
What if Teferi?
What if tribal
Have
Teferi?
you considered Teferi hero of Dominaria?
Yeah. Notable miss of the 4-drop Teferi, but I'll let it slide.
Which 4-drop would you want?
The one that activates on everyone's turn. I think that one's actually way better than people give it credit for.
Master of Time.
Yeah. I having played that recently myself in my Zamona and Dina list that we were talking about earlier. I think it's a often overlooked Teferi because being able to loot on each player's turn is really strong.
My favorite 4-drop Teferi, which is a very niche category, is Teferi who slows the sunset.
Oh, that's a good one too.
From when I was playing Mono Green Devotion, which I know those two words kind of are weird with a blue-white.
Your gears may have immediately burst into flames.
Right. I'm not going to go into the full specifics, but being able to untap Chain Veil to then activate Teferi to then untap Chain Veil to then untap Teferi.
Looks like we're getting Felden plus the activation of the Faceless Haven.
We're trying.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to go to combat. Looks like he's choosing to make another 1/1 that is likely not long for this world.
Certainly not long for this dice.
That's true. And while we were discussing other things, it looks like he had used Teferi, I think, to bounce the Felden, but got the Felden back into play again. Likely was expecting a different line, was probably not ready for the animation there.
No.
But
he bounced the 3-drop Teferi to bounce Felden.
Correct, yeah, because it wasn't, I think, 6 and then dropped to 3. Was probably not anticipating the Haven on that turn, but I think it was a smart call to do it because obviously saving resources. So. Yeah, a lot of planeswalkers here, getting called out here about the potential scoop phase here. It is a dominating board
It's
state.
tough. Yeah.
It's hard to be a red mage sometimes, but you know what? You got to fight the good fight still.
And also, Zach was on the draw. I think going into play in game 2, if he's able to go in under this, because Casey was able to hold up a 1-mana interaction, a 2-mana interaction.
Yeah,
if Zach's able to do just 1-drop, 2-drop, and go into the races for game 2, it might be tough for Casey to repeat that into game 3. Really, we see the devastating end game, but that was built by the 1-drop interaction into the 2-drop interaction that Casey started with.
Yeah, obviously, as we talked about, the ability to decide because of our seating order to go first or not is going to be a huge impact for Casey moving forward, especially because if he does end up winning this match, he gets that option again, which is super huge, especially seeing how impactful that Yoshi Bruce Tarl deck was last round.
Especially on the play. Yeah.
All right, looks like we're sending back into the red zone with our cavalcade of tokens. So Zach going to 5 here.
Yep. Oh, a lot of mana.
Wonder what we're seeing here.
Oh.
Is it?
Are we temporal trespassing?
It might be.
Oh,
no,
Emrakul.
Even worse.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's even worse. Yep.
Yeah, I would like to take your turn.
We talked about the scoop phase before, and we're there.
Oh yeah, we're definitely. It's spaghetti dinner time.
Yeah. I did this to someone right before we went on air.
And how'd that feel for them?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you were in control of them, so what did you tell them to feel?
They felt like they were having a good time.
Don't sing it though.
Maybe.
All right, looks like we're actually going to go through with the turn, so may as well.
Worst comes worst, Zach gets another turn.
Doesn't look like he's going to, though, because I'm assuming he's going to get fire blasted to the face.
Exquisite Firegraft, I think, can hit himself.
It sure can, and so can fire blast. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna send him to the Shadow Realm there.
I'll say that happens,
it
especially
does.
when you're playing a red deck that's sometimes you can get around the Emrakul, and sometimes you just have the lethal burn for yourself in hand.
Yeah, you know.
Or the
These
lethal
things happen.
toxic deluge.
You play with fire,
before.
sometimes you get burned.
One of those was a magic card.
Sometimes you get burned?
No, the other one, play with fire, is a magic card.
I don't follow.
So as we get up with round 2, we go to our
game 2.
Game 2.
Game
we go to our 4th between game conversation that we've definitely set up ahead of time.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris.
Hello.
I don't know if you know this, but I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man 2. The new hit video game from Sony.
How do you play a Sam Raimi movie from 2002?
It's so funny you mention that. That's also my favorite superhero movie.
Sure.
So
It's a good one.
yeah, it's good. Imagine doing that over and over again.
Yeah. That's well, it's a tough one for good old Doc Ock in that movie. I would not want to live that over and over again.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't normally play as him. I play as MJ.
Michael Jackson?
No.
Oh, Michael Jordan.
Right.
I see.
Are there, I guess, magic
Johnson?
topics? No, magic
okay.
topics. Magic the Gathering
Oh,
topics.
okay, I see. I don't understand.
Is there
I don't know
a
those.
commander that you are like super excited to try for when we do have another league? Because we're probably going to have one coming up in the next like couple months.
So me personally,
Yeah.
So I have been experimenting recently with Balluna, Grand Squall, I believe is her full name. She's the teamer.
The Rock Lady.
Yes, with her husbando Rock.
Yeah.
For anyone who's seen the showcase art for Balluna, she's standing over a gingerbread house with a giant rock, and I was trying to in story figure out why she has this rock, because it's not like she's holding it menacingly like she's going to destroy the gingerbread
She's
house,
just holding a rock.
though I think that was the intention.
Mhm.
And I came to the conclusion that similar to waifu pillows in Eldraine, the giants have husbando rocks that they like to display to people and show
Right.
off their big, strong, burly rocks. So that's my in head canon for for her holding that rock. But she's been really fun. The adventure aspect of it's a little awkward because there is a whole lot of not good adventures
And you don't
versus
get
playable
some
ones.
of the like black
right
ones that
or
are really
or the
good.
new ones that have multicolor. You get a
Oh,
couple,
right.
but not all of them.
Yeah, the green black ones are like
Right.
gone and like
Right, not having like the Dread Knight and things like
Yeah.
that. But that deck's been interesting, and then I'm trying to figure out using some of the Doctor Who cards what I want to try. You and I talked about Cult of Skaro and
Grixis, Artifact,
and
Aggro,
Davros
/
as
Mid-range, yeah.
right as possible options.
Mhm.
So that's something I've been thinking about as well. And then you've been cooking back up one of your old favorites. Looks like we're going to some mulligans here.
When I won the league a year and a half ago or so,
Sure.
I was
Back in my day.
well, to tell you how long ago it was for our format, it had Deadly Relic and Ragavan legal in it.
Right, which is a heck of a format at the time.
But that was Kess, Dissident Mage, Grixis, kind of. It felt more like a Grixis Jund deck, where it was like it wasn't necessarily control. There were some combo things you could do, but it was much more like creature, interactive things. I'm trying to 2-for-1 every card.
Right, a lot
especially
of
with Kess being
build
able
your
to like
own.
4-for-1.
Right, build your own
sometimes.
2-for-1 because of being able to flash a thing back every turn.
Right. So that was that's the newest build I've been working on. I have the High Tide Teferi deck built because they recently unbanned High Tide,
Which
and
is
that was a mistake.
Interesting, but I do think it's a mistake. Having played against that Teferi deck a number of times
I played
already.
against very few people, all of them on mid-range decks, and boy, do I eat.
Mid-range alive, yeah. You eat it like a nice bowl of cereal.
Yeah. Oh, it was mutual mulligans for our players.
Yep. It looks like we're gonna likely see 6s from both, possibly less, but at least 6 for sure. We had a call out here about Rona Reanimator. I do think that's
Reanimator's
that's an interesting call out too.
Or Josh was thinking about old Stick Fingers Reanimator as well.
Yeah, I do think that we do have a
Oh,
lack.
Zach, the zoom in,
That is, yeah.
showing us
That
cards.
is pretty interesting opener. I do like the top card there. Is an oldie but goldie.
The look at these hands.
Yes. No, I'm sure we're probably gonna see it on turn 1. So.
Oh, for sure. He's going to ask Case. Look at these hands.
Yeah. Would you like to see these hands? Rough here for Casey going to 5. It looks like.
I think Casey had the same realization that we talked about already. Whereas for Casey on the draw, you have to interact on turn 1. You have to interact on turn 2.
You do have to have quite a curve.
You have to make it to that late game. Otherwise, Zach's just able to just run away with it, kind of like we saw Yoshimaru do earlier.
Yeah, the saving grace here for Casey is because he won game 1. even if he loses this game, he sort of jumps back into the driver's seat for game 3.
Right.
And so long as he isn't stuck having to mulligan to oblivion,
Also,
there
I
is
definitely had a
high-
moment of panic where
You thought he was going to mulligan to 4.
no, I thought he was going to put 5 cards back.
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh,
it was
there
only
you go.
only for 2. I think it's
Those are one
yeah.
drop
I think
interaction.
I think it's fine.
We're doing it.
Yeah,
We're
here we
doing
go.
it. Would you like to see these hands? So
Yeah, so Vexing Devil here is a Avacyn Restored, I believe, card. 1 mana, 4/3. When it comes into play, you either let it stay in play or you take 4 and it goes away.
Yep.
So oftentimes a sorcery speed shoot you for 4,
Right.
unless you happen to
What's-
have like a prismatic.
what I really liked
Something or
about that
something.
for Duel Commander is that early on it is just a 1 mana deal 4.
Right.
But late in the game, if they're only at like 6, 8 life, it's a 1 mana 4/3 that just sticks around.
Even better if they're at like 3, because
Right.
it's a pay effect. You can't pay the 4.
Right.
So if you're at 3, it's a 4/3 for 1.
Goblin Guide not
Yeah.
showing a land.
Yeah, it looks like Goblin Guide not doing his job properly.
It's okay. He tries his best. Ooh, and then we're saying a condemn.
Yeah, Kadem pretty good here. I'm sure he was hoping for something more like
gains
Feldon to put it back on
2
4.
inputs on the bottom. Yep.
Life total a little less irrelevant for Zach, but does get the throw off the board for Casey, which is really more what he's hoping for. And I do believe we saw Spell Snare, I think, from
Yeah, I
Casey.
believe that was the
So
other one drop. So,
yeah, likely going to see that this turn is my guess.
but that's what we needed from Casey to try to win this game.
Right,
Was
to try to get out from under this mold of 5.
what?
Not
Is
sure.
that Shinka, but Lord of the Rings art?
It's possible.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
the
here
spell
comes
snare.
the Spell Snare.
Yeah, that's one of the Lord of the Rings box topper arts.
And Shinka is the gained first strike.
Yep.
Yep.
Is Shinka, but it's Helm's Deep, the Lord of the Rings.
Looks like we may have the judge just double checking to make
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
what's
yeah,
going
there's so
on
many art variants for.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the Shinka.
Oh, I guess they can't hear me do the finger guns at home, but I definitely
I
did the finger
could.
guns.
I'm my what?
Of like, I know things.
That's true.
This is also like my job is to know magic cards.
I don't understand.
So I get paid
Mhm.
to know magic cards.
I don't follow, but that's okay.
Okay.
All right, looks like we have Feldon coming in into a miscalc.
I mean,
Classic Azorius magic here of
Yeah.
what if your cards were not real cards. An interesting thing here that I've been pointing out for some time is miscalc never reprinted,
right? Yeah.
which is very strange to me. Like, I'm sure it's a power level reason, but the fact that we haven't gotten it in like a master set as like a rare reprint is kind of fascinating
For
to me. Or like a secret layer version
Right.
that we haven't gotten.
We've never had it in a foil that I can afford.
Right. That is the major thing for me too. Like I play a lot of miscalculation in my blue decks, and the fact that I can't foil it out. I also am not the
You
biggest fan of
can.
that
It's
art.
just
Like, I would love to see just a
beans.
better art for it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to naysay old Magic art,
Yeah.
but
It's like
I think we can up.
30 cents for the regular and like $35 for the foil.
Yeah, no big deal. Yeah, 31. It looks like
$31.
that's quite a big jump. Yeah. All right, looks like we've got a
I
pass.
could buy me a boat for that much.
It does look like Casey missed a land drop. So that's, I think. Oh no, I'm sorry. We did have Zach up first, so I actually don't think he has missed one yet.
Ooh,
All right,
invasion.
looks like we've got an invasion going
of
on.
Regatha?
That's the shoot them for 4-1.
Yeah,
It's a pretty
and
good
got
one.
like a prowessy guy on the back.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong one.
Yeah, invasion of Regatha.
Yeah, so obviously the invasions are interesting card types for those of you who may have missed them. Showing up in March, right? Was the
Yeah, March the Machine.
Yeah.
That's the only time we've seen them so far.
Yeah, we'll likely see them again. I was actually kind of surprised they weren't in Lord of the Rings because battles are so important
yeah.
to the story.
Like the Battle of Helm's Deep
It's
would have been.
It's
like,
definitely possible that they didn't have the card type fully figured out by the time that had to go to print, so it's possible they may have just had bad luck on the timing of that set.
Right.
But yeah, I was surprised that they weren't in there, but we'll likely see them again at some point.
Yeah.
It is a very interesting card type, and it exists now, so you may as well use it.
And also, they're going to do different things. Is kind of what like they're not all going to flip into.
Right. We these ones specifically are siege types, so it's possible we may see
Landing
something
for
else.
3. I mean,
Bringing them
Zach's
down to the
game
danger
plan.
zone. Yeah, this is tough.
Zach notably missing the 3rd snow land outside of Faceless Haven,
Right.
which I
so-
think would have been a huge get for that turn.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Casey realizing things might be a little precarious for him here. Five is not
Right. Yeah.
a
in
lot of
case you
life to
don't
be at.
sees it too.
So he's got to really be careful here because like activation plus burn spell is a absolute like blowout for him here. So looks like we
Elminster?
are going to see Elminster. We might see him
Like just
with
blind
the
flip.
the immediate blind flip
No.
possibly. No, can't do it. You know what? I
Casey's
respect-
betting on having another turn.
I respect that. It's also possible that he may have something like a Solitude in his hand that he's willing to evoke in to save his life for a turn.
Honestly, like a force would save him at this point because I believe Zach's playing a little close to the empty-handed.
Right, it's possible. I think he may only be on 2 cards at this point.
Yep.
And unlike in the last match, not having things like Minas Tirith or other
Right.
of the Horizon lands to pitch to draw cards is going to be kind of brutal here, being on mono red.
Thoughts are brewing.
Yeah, it looks like he probably did not draw. All right, looks like he's going to shoot him for 2, I believe. Yeah, no land again there. Is going to be
Darn.
the saving grace there for Casey, at least for
Darn
another turn.
tootin'.
Yeah. All right, looks like he's gonna choose to draw and scry again.
Yep.
Curious to see what he.
Oh, top for at least one of them. Yeah, top bottom. That's important.
Clearly something there that he wanted. I didn't get a chance to see it.
Oh, that's a legendary land for Yoshimaru.
Yeah, Tony's probably gonna put a counter on his Yoshimaru while standing over there. All right, let's see here.
Oh, Warrior Revealed gets to draw 3, and it costs 3 less, or 2 less.
2 less, yeah.
For the because of Elminster.
Yeah, because of the discount from the static that we spoke about.
Plus, the card has hobbits on it.
Yeah, and another again Lord of the Rings card that is a slam dunk. Like these 1-cost land cycling cards were really powerful. Lorien, obviously, the high note of all of them, but Oliphant and Troll also super playable, at least from my opinion.
Yeah. Ooh, Ahsokan's on, I think, is the card per turn. I think we're going to see,
Go for the channel.
Yeah.
Only puts him to 1, unfortunately, but that does.
We haven't seen the last card in Zach's hand, but he definitely hasn't played it as a land anytime recently. So that makes me think that it's like one of the 2 damage spells.
Right. Yeah, some sort of shock effect potentially. Let's see. It looks like we're marching a token.
Yep. Same for 1.
Yeah. Which would put him to 2.
Yep.
Basically putting him on to have shock or bust.
Okay, so he didn't play it. I wonder what the card is.
I mean, it's very possible that it's just like a 6-drop he can't play. I don't know if he's playing things like Inferno Titan or not, but I've seen some red decks have some meaty things to try to close the game out. I got to imagine he's ticking down here. Nope, refuses. You know what? I love the dedication to sculpting the perfect hand here from Casey.
Chris, I came here to draw cards and to scry 2.
Came here to draw cards and commentate.
I want to draw cards and scry 2. I want to draw a card, scry 2.
Well, this time it's scry 2, then draw.
Oh,
Right?
you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, he just drew it.
Well, he knew what it was. So I think he knew what both was because he got both on top.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's useful.
That's
We'll
my
see.
first one, so it doesn't-
Yeah, looks like not it. Just announcing that he doesn't get the discount there because of the 1 cost. So, and there might have been a question about that, but pointing to Elminster, I think just to verify that he.
What do we got?
I mean, and
Zach's got a thinker.
could just be Felden again. Or no, sorry, he's still on 5, right? So not able to cast Felden quite yet.
Casey at 2 is such a fascinating spot to be in.
It's definitely dangerous. Like it's not a
all
safe
your fetch
place.
lands gone.
Mm-hmm.
Or is 2 very or for your point of view, is 2 that different from 1?
I mean, I
Like,
guess
he's attacking
not.
for 1.
There's
Is
so
that-
there's so few single damage red spells that get played. I mean, he might have like an
Ooh.
Epicure or something,
This
maybe.
is a hallowed mending
Yes, so that's the gain 2
or
draw.
faithful mending.
Yeah, gain 2, draw 2, pitch 2 with flashback, so you can gain 4 here.
Yep. Oh, we've got. We're giving.
It's pointing to the
Oh,
spirit
he
for
Castle
something.
Embereth, and then. Ooh.
Ooh,
So we're logic nodding.
and Raven's form, I think that was. What was that?
Raise the effigy.
I'm not sure what that one is.
Me neither. I know card names.
Whatever it was, it looked like it was a counter of some kind. So.
Oh, well, this was logic not on this side.
Oh, that was a Logic Knot. Okay, sorry. Hard to tell because Logic Knot, because it's a future side card, has a couple different
Right, the
awkward
card,
variants.
yeah, raise the effigy, I think, was the card that we saw.
I believe it was some sort of pump spell then, I'm guessing. Oh, in fact, I think it might be +2/+0, I think.
Hmm.
Or it blows up an artifact or something like that, I think.
Or burn the effigy? I don't know.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. You're right. This Elminster's so many counters on it. When are we going to see these 1/1s?
Never.
Probably,
Certainly not now.
Probably not never. I mean, at this point, you're at 2. Like,
I do believe Zach is empty-handed now, though, because I think that card he
The
tried to
raise
fire
was
off was
the-
the yeah.
all right, we are seeing a Deluge for 2, so he's only going to get to just draw 2, but still a draw 2. And he does get to,
He gets to look at them first,
yeah, he does get to technically look at the 2
and they're
first,
not
but-
card draws, so
Yeah.
you,
I mean,
for cards
honestly,
that matter
2
about
mana
that,
draw 2,
is really good.
that's fine.
I play that half the time.
With like what, like a charter course?
Ooh, that's sweet.
Yeah,
For the Rona Reanimator deck we were talking about earlier.
yeah.
Ooh, okay. Now we're in a tough spot.
Hey, now we're cooking. All right, yeah. Wanderer's good here. Obviously, going to gain him a little bit of life back,
Right.
so he's going to have a substantial burn spell now.
Right.
Although a top decked snow covered land does let him activate
Yep.
Faceless Haven, which
Sure.
we see here. Also, he may try to go for the Felden play instead to try to conserve his last creature lands. Hard
Right.
to tell what's going to happen. Looks like he's just going to try to go for lethal. Is an awkward spot for sure for him. So let's see.
Ooh.
Looks like
Dashing
he
a Zurgo.
also has a dashed Zurgo Bell Striker. So that is notable. Banned as a commander, but playable in your 99 2/2 with haste because of the dash.
We're about to see an invocation, I think. I don't know what this one is.
You'll never know.
Shoot. And my job is to know magic cards.
You drink and you know magic cards.
I sure
You're
do.
like Tyrion, but for
Oh,
cardboard.
He's playing
Yes.
Revitalize?
Revitalize is so
Oh
good.
my
I'm
gosh.
so happy right
I
now.
didn't know that.
I love that card.
Oh, man. I didn't know that was in the list.
Yeah, 2 mana,
Oh
gain
my
3 draw card
God.
is honestly awesome right
Oh,
now.
my gosh. We're putting Revitalize on the card reader.
And it looks like we're gonna force the Zurgo off of that.
Is that forcible?
That one I do know, because I've seen it a couple of times as an invocation.
Okay, so we're time for...
Back to 2.
He put Revitalize on the card reader.
Yeah, dude,
This is so cool.
Revitalize is great. Have you ever actually cast Revitalize? It's actually really good.
No.
People do not expect it. And
Yeah,
in like white, being able to like change the math on your
Cool.
opponent out of nowhere and draw a
Cool.
card.
All right. That might have been worth...
Thinking about some,
That might have been worth not playing Spider-Man 2 for.
oh, just for the Revitalize.
Yeah, that's bringing tears to my eyes.
It's so beautiful.
It's honestly wonderful.
Yeah.
Zeke in the comments, Fiery Confluence for the win. Heckin' love that card.
Yeah, that's a really good one. We also missed
It's right there.
Kendall's comment about the variety of commanders. Yeah, we have a great variety of decks going on.
Yeah.
We have
Mono red.
we have 2 aggro decks and 2 control decks, right?
Right.
So it's nice, especially with our sea of mid range that we've been seeing lately for our particular meta.
All right. I know it's my job to know cards, but I don't know what that one is.
That's a great question.
Wow.
I'm
Is
not
it, it's
sure.
a creature?
Yeah, some kind.
I don't know what this
I'm gonna
card
guess it's some sort of hasty creature. I'm not sure what.
is. I'm usually so good about this.
Embereth.
Embereth.
Mm-hmm.
Pal.
Oh, veteran.
Embereth Veteran. Oh, from the new set. It's
Yeah.
1 mana 2/1. We play 1 mana 2/1s.
Yeah, we play those. Oh, I see, because it can pump the Faceless Haven. if
What's
you
cool
want.
about this is that if okay, I guess he paid.
I missed what happened there.
Yeah, he cycled a Shark Typhoon to make a 7/7.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Not gonna help the life total, but at least he's gonna do something.
Are we? Oh,
Yeah,
he's
let's-
doing the count for Emrakul again.
Nah, that can't possibly be true. Surely not a second spaghetti dinner.
Well, I don't know if
I'm
you know
so-
this,
I'm so
but
full from the
Allminster
fir-
is at
I'm so full from the
promptly
first one.
1,000 counters, which means he scryed a lot.
Which means
He might have found it by now.
yeah, it's definitely possible. All right, looks
Oh,
like
he's doing
the
it.
Wandering Emperor ticking up for nothing. It looked like.
Well, he could put a counter on the 2/1, but he
No,
could
he
put a
has a
counter on
7/7, but I think
know-
I think he missed that.
I also missed the 7/7.
Yeah.
That's why you should have your tokens.
But it is up to 1, so not our business, unfortunately, to
It
go
was a
correct
legal target.
that. Yep. All right, looks like he's swinging for 7 in the air.
Interesting going to he's that confident.
I mean, whatever's in his hand has got to be bananas.
Yeah.
Which is probably Emrakul.
Right.
Because the math checks out on make your only creature walk into Emrakul.
5 mana.
Uh,
That's not enough for an Emrakul. That's enough for Teferi though.
that is also a great card.
Oh,
Looks like he's gonna
that 2/1.
tuck
gone.
the 2/1. I think he might have misinterpreted the Teferi though. We may want to go and clarify.
Is
for
that in
them.
his hand?
Yes. So hang on, we're gonna have Brennan step out real quick just to clarify where that 2/1 should be.
Should be your hand. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. I got a T3.
All right, we're getting that cleared up there, Brennan. Stopping the gameplay there just to make sure that we keep the game state. He is fetching, so it looks like he's just going to go ahead and throw it in his deck for the randomizing from the duel.
That was
or
the
from the
fix.
shuffle, I mean.
Was since we're already searching.
Yeah, kind of a bummer there, but it sounds like that was likely going to happen anyway. I don't think he was not going to fetch in that situation, so. Obviously, trying to thin his deck of lands so he can draw actual burn spells here to try to close the game out. Although it's getting dangerously close here.
Exquisite Firecraft would be
Would
heck of a
would be a good one.
because I'm sure he has spell mastery at this point.
Is that a dwarven mine? What is that?
It is.
Nice. So it gets a free 1/1.
We take those.
Yeah. I mean, when your opponent's a 2.
Yeah. And he has the mana for Felden. It's probably going to get countered, but it's there.
I mean, you may as well. All right, not quite a dwarf, but I think it's a squirrel or something. It's good enough. Sapperling, something.
Oh, we tithing mana? That's a mana tithe.
That is brutal. It's not what you want to see when your commander already costs 6. Well, we were talking about Casey. We're talking about how confident his hand was, and he has scryed an awful lot.
And he used that counter spell to draw 2 just now with the Archmage's Charm.
Yeah. Notable disrespective. I don't want your dwarf. I'd rather draw 2. I don't want this weird squirrel dwarf. I want my 2 cards, please.
Yes, Rachel in the chat. Teferi tucked a Embereth Paladin?
Veteran or
Veteran. Embereth Veteran. We ended up fixing
something.
that.
2/1 for 1 from the new
we
set.
are treacherying the dwarf.
I mean, it's free.
It sure is.
Free as a bird, as we like to call it. Yeah, the misplay there was that the card originally went to Zach's hand, but we clarified that, so it ended up getting shuffled away with his fetch.
Yep.
Notable, even with the table judge, everyone's human. We're going to miss some things, which is why we have the second pair of eyes with us here.
Yep. Our combined brain cells.
Our combined might of being old judges.
Yeah.
All right, looks like the scrying is never going to end. This This Elminster is, I guess, thematically, he's a super old wizard. Makes sense that he would have 8,000 loyalty on him.
So Baldur's Gate 3
Mhm.
came out a couple months ago,
Mhm.
and I finally met Elminster like the other day.
And he's an asshole.
Oh, he's like, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just so we're clear, I mean, he's a
Right.
wizard, so...
But like, you meet him at the start of Act 2,
Yeah.
and I've been playing for months, and I just finished Act 1 for the
Oh,
first
wow.
time. And it's like, that's how big the game
I've
is.
not played a... I don't think I've played a Baldur's Gate game. I think I played... Because I think 2 was on...
Emrakul.
Spaghetti, so
Who
soon?
would have guessed?
Yeah. So soon. I'm so full from the last one still. I think Baldur's Gate 2 was on PS2, and I think I played that a little.
Ooh.
If I'm not mistaken. It might have been a different game, but I think Baldur's Gate 2 was on. Or it might have been the first Baldur's Gate. One of them I think was on PS2, and I played a little bit of that with some friends.
My dream is for the next card.
Alright, so it looks like he is trying to Arc Trail in response.
Oh no, we're on
Oh,
their
I'm sorry.
shared turn.
Okay, good. Thank God.
That's
I was like, that's a sorcery. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I forgot. I have not played Arc Trail in a minute, so I
okay.
forgot that.
We've
it
had
is a
Arc
sorcery.
Trail. We've had Revitalize.
We've had some.
Spice.
The spice has been real.
The spice must flow. Oh, we're going to
Next, it looks like
Please Be Exclusive Firecraft.
I think it was a rabbit battery. Yeah.
Sure was.
Yeah, I've played a number of those in my day.
And an Absorb.
Just in case.
Actually, the Absorb would have saved the Exquisite.
Right, because you can still try it.
You can still gain the 3. Yeah, that's going to be a game.
No, it's like
Well fought.
yeah, that was
By
that was a
Zach.
tough one. Top
Well
decking
done
in
by
mono
Casey.
red. Yeah, obviously really tough
Right.
there. I think it was well fought.
Also, that could go.
The power of scrying, drawing a card and scrying so much. A scry.
Yeah, Seer Vision's every turn.
Yeah, Serum Visions for 7 turns, I
Yeah.
think, with the loyalty.
Special
that was on
thanks to our floor judge to answer the person in chat who's been handling the extra tokens and the life total. So not only are we asking him to do the rules questions, but also keep track of literally everything that's happening in the game.
there. Yeah, it is our floor judge, Joseph Tigner, who is doing the life changing. But it is Kendall's phone. So
It is Kindle's phone.
Sort of a joint effort.
Right. That is going to do us for round number 2.
Yep.
We're going to be doing a quick break before we go into round 3, which will be Tony and Casey.
Yep.
Um,
And then notable thing again is because Casey is top seed, he will have choice to
Right.
draw or play
Yeah.
first.
So while they set up for that, we're going to do a quick break. But first, I'm going to send it back to Nathan in the booth.
Thank you so much, Brendan, for sending it back to me. We are going to go to match 3. Again, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. So we're going to be back here at 11:43. Again, 11:43. And it is going to be Casey Mills versus Tony. I forgot his last name. Sorry, Tony. But yeah, well, it'll be Casey versus Tony here in 10 minutes. Let's say 11:44. Thank you so much, everybody, for sticking with us, and see you in 10 minutes.
So we hear like if I
Bum,
do
bum, bum, bum. Wait. Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. I certainly wasn't doing intro music. This is Brendan. We are going to be starting our round 3 matchup. I am joined by Christopher Greitzman.
Hello. Yeah, so we have everyone just shuffling up real quick for the finals match here. So as mentioned earlier, we have Casey here on the left. And then Tony on the right with Yoshimaru and Bruce Tarl.
There's something in the way of them being able to play, though. What is at the
Not
middle
sure
of the
what the
play?
shiny distraction might be. Tony brought it with him. I think it's some sort of thing he got last time for winning.
Does it say Duel Commander reigning champion?
I do think so. Yeah, so for those of you who may not remember our last stream we did, Tony was our victor, so he is our current reigning champion for the Endgames Duel Commander belt. So we are just presenting it out here for everyone to see. Tony trying to defend his honor and potentially two-peat. I think he'll be our first back-to-back two-peat if he pulls it
If
off.
he wins.
Right.
I think he's going to have a tough time with that, with Casey being his opponent.
It's going to be tough.
Casey being on the play.
Yeah. Casey being another... you know, they play a lot of matches with each other as far as like different events. So they, I'm sure, have played this match some number of times. If not this particular deck, they've played, I'm sure, a lot of Commander against each other in general. Casey being on the play is tough.
Anyone can do this. It's the person we just saw live at 2 life against Burn for an absurd number.
For just an unreasonable amount of turns.
Yeah. I think I was more stressed than Casey was.
Yeah. Also, if we have any potential questions about lines of play, we do have the final.
We have deck lists.
We have the deck list here.
Well, we have deck lists.
We have deck lists. You all will be subject to us talking about it if we bring it up. But we have them here just in case we're curious
I think
about.
There's one thing we can say is that both players are playing. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Hold,
white
please.
sources.
Yep.
In their mana base.
I can confirm that. I do. I do know.
Wow.
Let's see here. While we're waiting for the shuffle, let me just take a
Also,
look.
both players put their names.
Does look like there was a Revitalize submitted, so that looks to
Oh,
all be
good.
above board.
Above board. That is my highlight of the day.
Yeah.
Maybe of my life.
It's good. So during the break there, we went over to discuss with Casey the absolute mind break that was Revitalize from Brendan's end, and my maximum respect to someone who's also cast Revitalize in this format.
I have not, and I was wrong.
There was a bit of a dispute going on between Tony and Casey about playing both Revitalize and Faithful Mending, but both were needed to survive.
Right.
So I do think there's an argument that they both deserve to be in the 99, but
Right.
Tony did not agree.
Right.
So
And
this
that's
is
why
no-
Tony is not playing either.
That's true. Oh, he only has access to one, in fairness, which is Revitalize.
Oh.
Which let me take
He
a look
can't
through
put
here real
blue
quick and
cards
see.
in his deck?
Yeah, I don't see Revitalize in his
Huh.
list. So
Oh. Well, that was hidden information that we just gave the chat.
that's all right.
It'd be a shame.
They'll be fine. It'd be an awful shame if someone were to text Tony and be like, "Quick, put Revitalize."
Tony,
in
check your phone during the important match.
Check Revitalize. Put Revitalize in right now.
Yeah.
Surely they won't deck check you a second time.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would.
I believe that.
That's probably why I'm not judging right now.
I have to imagine there's a lot of potential. I don't want to say animosity. It's not the right word, but tension between the two. Both feel pretty secure
Sure.
about their win here.
Sure.
Both were very confident going into setting up for the final round. So
Well,
I'm very interested to see.
Tony did win a regional championship qualifier earlier today.
That is true. Tony coming in a little exhausted off of his
Right.
RCQ win. Casey coming in completely fresh.
So my theory is that you can only win one Magic tournament a day.
Oh.
So if we go past
We probably
midnight,
should have told Tony that.
yeah. But if we go past midnight,
Oh, it's
Tony-
a whole new
right.
ball game. Let's see. Not quite there yet.
we got 11 minutes. Come on, Casey, 11-minute win,
just a swift.
just in case.
Swift 6 minute by
Casey,
a 6
Showing
minute
us
win.
cards in hand.
A 6 minute win followed by a 5 minute win from Casey
Ooh, there we
to make
go.
sure that he beats the
Right.
buzzer.
Well, Mulligan decisions are happening.
Yeah, looks like it's gonna be.
Tony not showing
It was
us anything.
6 right on Casey's side, and looks like it's gonna be.
I'm gonna be honest. I was just excited about blue and white spells being played.
Oh
that
yeah,
I
I'm
didn't
sure.
notice
I
how many
believe you.
cards I was being shown.
I believe it was 6.
Yeah.
And then I believe Tony also going to 6. So
Yeah.
not the end of the world for either player,
Right.
but a little bit easier for Tony. Obviously on the draw, kind of gets to make up for that lack of a card right away. Where Casey
Sure.
really isn't going to get
But
that
we
chance
saw
until Almonster shows up.
against Zach, where being on the play for Casey is so pivotal.
Oh yeah,
Because you're able to on curve be turn 1 interaction, turn
yeah,
2 interaction.
having interaction for the Shoshimaru on turn 1 is going to be
Right.
pretty crucial. Not the end of the world if he doesn't, because he
No, for
has
sure.
plenty of ways to get it out of play once it's
Right.
in play. Tough decision here for Tony on what exactly he's going to put to the bottom. My
Right.
guess is that he has a very tight curve and he's trying to figure out
Right.
the best way to handle
Right.
the sheer amount of removal and counter spells that are likely to come. Got an Adakar waste here.
And a pass.
Yeah.
We take those.
Pass all day. I'll pass right now.
I'll pass.
I'll pass.
Oh. Whose turn is it?
I believe it's
Well,
Casey's.
now it's gonna be
yeah,
Casey's,
I think
yeah.
it's Casey's.
So Yoshimaru turn 1.
Yeah,
No turn 1
the
interaction. but-
lightning fast reflexes of Yoshimaru jumping in right on turn 1. All right, we got a counter coming here to Yoshi from the land drop. And as a reminder, he won't be able to cast the Bruce Tarl now since he has cast the Yoshimaru from the command zone.
Yep. Oh, 4 spike for the flowering of the white tree.
And the
condemn.
condemn from
That
for
is
the
going to
Yoshimaru.
cost him a health.
Mhm.
Which I'm hoping that they catch.
No, you can just go tell real quick. I'm sure it's just an easy miss site for the Adakar waste. There we go. All right. Easy peasy. Barely an inconvenience.
It's a lot easier for me to see that because I'm not sitting at the table with the people
Yelling at them.
yelling at. Well, I don't. I hope that's not.
Your
what's happening.
board state! What's wrong with it? What are you doing?
Failure to maintain
Brendan,
yourself.
put that chair down, Brendan.
Yoshimaru with the steel chair.
Yeah, looks like we got
Miscalculation with the steel
miscalc again.
chair.
Interesting.
Oh,
for the
that was a cycle.
That was a cycle. Interesting. I'm wondering.
Sure. Like why counter it when it's a 1/1 when you can remove it when it's bigger?
You know what? Fair.
Yep. And I think Casey's still trying to get to the late game.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those Lord of the Rings box topper cards. I believe it's the Shadow Spear.
No, he had a regular Shadow Spear last time. This one is
the Ozolith.
Yeah, it's the Ozolith. I actually have one of these too. It's the art itself is really fantastic.
That's wonderful. Yep. And it's legendary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting card choices when building for Yoshi decks because there's just so many like incidental things that are legendaries that cost 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Actually, I have the list here, so let me see. I don't think he's playing it. Doesn't look like it. There's a 1-drop legendary from Lord of the Rings that is basically Misery Shadow. That's a 1-drop artifact.
Yeah.
That I would not be surprised if it.
Oh, like the stone of whatever. Yeah.
But it's not in here. But
because I was seeing that see some play in like the Agatha's Soul Cauldron decks in Modern.
Yeah. So that it's a good effect early, and then late game you can pop it to draw a card. So.
I don't think Casey was expecting the Ozolith, but I do think Casey was just trying to make sure that when he makes it to the late game that he's not out of gas. So I think that's why he cycled.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I think he was also hoping with Tony only on like 3 cards that he might not have a legendary to drop.
Right.
That he couldn't like counter easily.
Right.
Or like remove the Yoshimaru or something. Right. And like the Ozolith, while it's powerful because the Yoshi tokens go on it and then they go back to Yoshi when he comes back into play or whatever creature is there. He has things like the March of Otherworldly Light in his deck, so like very easy to get rid of the Ozolith as well.
That's a legendary spell for the Tail's End if he wants to. Yep, I think that might be the.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. The Tajik, I think it's first strike. Also haste, I think.
Yeah.
Haste. Sorry, he does not have first strike.
Haste
He has to
mentor.
pay for the first strike. Yes. Yeah. So not something you see all the time, but is a powerful card. And Mentor obviously can grow the Yoshimaru also, which is nice.
Yep.
So yeah, looks like we are going to see the Tail's End here.
Yeah, that saved him 4 damage for 2 mana. I think that was a really good play.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to take the 2 from the Yoshimaru and then fetch at the end of turn, probably to get his taps, either Snowland or whichever tap duel he finds first, I'm guessing. Unless he has some sort of spell he's looking to play at the end of turn.
So I don't know if you know this, but I went undercover at Wishes of the Coast.
Okay.
Wore like fake mustache and everything so that they could put.
But they don't know what you look like already. Why
so that they could hold on. Let me finish the story.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So that they could put Stifle on a counter spell, and so Tail's End was made, and I'm going to take credit for that.
You can find Brendan. No, wait.
Now
let me explain. It's
but
good.
This means I can go back and get the pitch Stifle.
That's true.
Without going undercover.
Right, because they only saw you with the fake mustache instead of your real mustache.
Yeah. Ooh, Mystic Sanctuary entering untapped.
Yeah, due to the.
I think Tail's End back on top.
Yeah, I think so.
The library's just out of camera view. Also, notably, Tony only has 1 red, which has been a hurdle because of the Seasoned Pyromancer in his hand. Oh, well, that'll help.
But instead, what if we talked about this Greyhaven again?
Yeah.
And how actually strong it is in this deck.
In this deck, yeah. They were going to use a picture of me for the Tail's End, but then someone else.
But you're like, now my mustache is shy.
Right, yeah.
As Rachel pointed out here, when you have 2 of your homies facing each other, the only thing you can say is, I hope my friend wins.
Yeah. Zeke saying Tony would play the Revitalize for a legendary.
Oh, for sure. If it were like one of the legendary instants or something.
I don't think that triggers Yoshimaru. It's when it enters.
I mean, you still play it for the style points.
Sure.
So.
You know what I play for the style points? Magic the Gathering.
Which you can find here at your local endgames. I thought you played Hard Evidence as your style card.
Ooh, Hard Evidence is sweet. Get some crabs, get some clues.
I wonder, does he have it in here? Probably not. He doesn't seem like he's as much of a sicko as you are.
No Hard Evidence. Yeah. Sicko.
First off, how dare you? Have you
Hold on.
seen that crab?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Casey's got it, which honestly might be a misstep on his part. Like that card is actually pretty great.
The grab blocks.
Yeah, 03 is hard to get through, and the clue is not irrelevant.
Yeah.
Magic isn't ready.
One day I'll be on a Magic card.
That's right.
It's not today.
Not today.
Oh, is this a memory deluge for 4? I believe it is.
Yeah, it
So we
was.
know one of the cards is Tail's End. He will probably keep that one.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what the other pick is.
One was an absorb, I think.
Yeah, I do see Absorb as one of the options.
I don't see the other two.
think
They're
one's
not
a-
revitalized, so I don't care about them.
I think he's taking
Yeah,
Absorb.
I think those are the right calls.
Seasoned Dungeoneer, not... Oh, is this a response to Seasoned Dungeoneer? Interesting.
Yeah, it's possible. So Dungeoneer, like we mentioned during the last game where Tony was playing, it starts the initiative, correct?
Yep.
And
So-
then when you go to attack, you can name a warrior, cleric, any party member.
A party member, yep. It
to
explores
explore
and it's
and-
pro creatures.
Creatures, yeah. So pretty powerful.
Notably, fairy dragons, or we actually haven't determined.
We
what
haven't.
creature
Yeah,
type
we
they
didn't
are.
even bother to clarify that with him.
1/1 dragons are a creature type.
That's true. Notable creature.
Notable creature, very.
Notable
Or not
creature.
fairy dragon.
1/1 creature token.
Also, the initiative in this matchup is more difficult for Casey to take back than it was even for Urtai, and we saw
Well,
how difficult that was for him.
It's difficult unless he finds a line where he can minus the Elminster. Because if he can make a bunch of flying 1/1s,
Sure.
it's definitely easy for him to then gain it and protect it.
Yep.
But I was talking to Casey in the middle of the rounds here about the fact that he minuses so infrequently, and the problem is that like his end game generally is Emrakul or some
Right.
some sort
So if
of
you exile
some
a big
amount of
thing.
control cards, and so like it's really hard to find a turn where not drawing the card and scrying is
Right.
the best option. Which
that
you
makes
know
a lot
that
of
makes
sense.
it makes sense. It's kind of a bummer because like sometimes those
And also, if you minus and hit a land.
yeah, devastating.
Right.
So like, yeah, you really have to hit 2 cards on the top with the scry with him, where one is a card you actually care about and one is one you want to throw away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard line to find because most of your high cost spells are probably things you want to play.
Right.
Is my
Also,
guess.
I do think Casey's running low on land options, which is why we see the Faithful Mending before he does any of his other plays.
Right, because it looks like he might just be digging for a land. It looks
Right.
like he does. Well, he does throw away.
And on, is it,
I think it's an Otawara and a Absorb. So might have just because of the quality of the cards in his hand, he may have had to give up a land drop for.
actually, that might not be an Otawara.
Let's see.
Oh.
Is it a?
Thassa's Intervention. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll have that up here for everybody in a second.
Man,
Um,
Nathan, coming in clutch.
Yeah, it's great.
Thanks, man.
Another card you don't see a ton of with the invocation, but is cool.
Yep.
All right, we got a Luminarch Ascendant here on Tony's side.
I love Luminarchus.
Aspirant, sorry.
Yeah, because not
I
only
misspoke.
is it's not legendary, which means it has to be good, but also
Right.
it's adding counters to the board, which is something that it's going to be really difficult for Casey to deal with inevitably because of the Ozolith.
Nice here though, Archmage's Charm.
Yeah, let's steal
going,
Yoshimaru.
Going for the Yoshimaru here. The fact that it's based on mana and not power is really
Right.
important
Interesting that he didn't wait for the beginning of combat.
there. I will say I think it's likely that he expected the Aspirant to either put the counter on itself or
Anyway, just
to
because, right.
because of the Ozolith is going to eventually go back to Yoshimaru. So
Right.
like I think that was fine to not wait
Sure.
because it probably wasn't going to go on him anyway.
Right.
But I guess it doesn't change
Right.
the outcome then, so you may as well wait and see if he does misstep.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so it looks like we're having him trigger
The Seasoned Dungeoneer
Seasoned
on
Dungeoneer.
itself.
Yeah. Well, the Dungeoneer, yeah, it's going to be on itself, but the counter hasn't resolved from the Explore yet, I don't
Right.
believe. The big bummer here for Casey is not he needs to.
We missed our Tony's not allowed to win a tournament deadline. That means both
Yikes.
players are viable to win this
They are
event.
officially allowed. Tony's
Yeah.
officially allowed to win another tournament. So, thanks, Caleb, for the shout out
Darn.
there. But
I mean,
you hate to see it, but you
hate
also
to see-
you also
yeah.
love to see it.
I guess
so-
that makes for a better game when both players are actually allowed to win.
Yeah. Andrew's absolutely devastated by that information. All right, so it looks like
Plus, the season generator got large.
it starts as a 2-2, 2-3.
A 3-3, I think.
Is it really? Wow.
think-
I've not yet sleeved that card up. It is
You
it is
should.
it is good.
It's so good.
I don't
It's kind of the forgotten about one because it's just in the commander decks. It
Right.
wasn't in the packs themselves.
well similar to Tony here. I don't often sleeve up white cards that aren't legendary
Mhm.
because of things like Dahada
Ooh,
and other
I
lists I've
love
played.
this play where Tony, not even caring about the elementals, just played Season Pyromancer with an empty hand, drew 2 cards.
Yeah, why not? I don't even want the 1/1s.
Casey, main phase, brainstorming.
Mm-hmm. Curious to see what he's looking for here.
Land, board wipe.
I mean, that would help for sure, but I don't think that is in the cards right now.
He does have a Yoshimaru.
He does have a 5/5. That is
Yeah,
nice.
Yoshimaru's
And
pretty cool.
notably, those tokens will not go on the Ozolith because it is
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Good for him.
the glow up. It looks like Tony and our floor judge might be talking about something here.
And we're still resolving the brainstorm, I believe.
Yeah, we are. There was just a comment about the season dungeoneer, but I think it might have just been clarification for the judge's sake as to
Sure.
the exact wording on the card.
It's a reader.
Yeah, and
It was in the party time commander deck, which I'm a big fan of because I've built multiple multiplayer decks based around the party.
Mhm.
But yeah, whenever you attack, you give a party member.
They get
Pro
pro creatures
creatures,
and
you
you
explore.
explore. And exploring, you get to look at
Right.
basically get to surveil the top. But if it's a land, it goes to your hand. If it's anything else, you can choose to put it to your graveyard to get a counter.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
You can also just leave it
It
on
was
top if you
a
want.
mechanic originally. Wait, hold on. Are we talking? Yeah, we'll talk about it. It was a mechanic originally from Ixalan, and
Oh,
we're
sure.
going back to Ixalan
Yeah,
in like 2 weeks.
it's so soon.
I was ready to start going into like podcast mode, but I forgot there was a game of Magic going on.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Ooh, wait, Teferi's a legendary.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. Do you think that trigger happened?
No, I don't think so. We probably should. I don't think it's a May, so we might want to. If you want to just go double check before you say anything, we're gonna have Brendan just double check here real quick because I don't believe it's a May.
Hello.
Just double checking with everybody here. All right, cool. Yeah, Yoshimaru, fairly certain not a May, so we had to make sure we kept the game state there.
Yeah, we're in a weird in between of competitive and
Looks like the judge may have ruled that it was too late. I think he's double checking to see if it's a May or not.
sure. It's okay if they missed it, but
Yeah. No, it is not a May, so he did let him go ahead and put the counter on it. I think he was just verifying for his own sake so we can keep the game state moving forward.
Sure.
Which is, obviously
it's a
why,
weird.
why we have it. Why we have
As I
it.
was trying to mention, it's a weird spot to be in where, when to interact with missed triggers,
Right.
especially at this level of play.
Right. Yeah, you were
It's
mentioning
tough because that is not. It's not necessarily a detrimental trigger. So it's up to the floor judge to decide whether or not that was a missed trigger or not.
Right.
Um,
But again, like we mentioned, we are playing in this weird sort of nebulous space between competitive and casual because obviously we want to try to keep the games as tight as we can, but at the same time we want our players to also be enjoying it, and obviously you at home watching to enjoy it as well. So
and because we're in a separate room, I can't just like secretly talk to Joe about.
right, you sort of have to let it.
Right.
I mean, you could pull him aside to see what he wants to rule it as,
Sure.
but ultimately, because of the state of what's going on, I think he would have allowed it anyway. Similar to the taking the land back
Sure.
from the previous round with Tony.
Yeah.
I think that's nothing had changed really in
Right.
the game state, so I think that's totally reasonable. We are getting dangerously close to the bottom of this dungeon, which for those of you who may not be aware, he'll get to look at the top 10 of his deck, choose
Ooh,
a
called it
creature.
again.
and then put it into play with 3+1/+1 counters, and it'll have hexproof until the start of his next
Like,
turn.
this is the second round in a row Casey's had to counter Feldon.
He's got a lot of practice with it now.
Yep. Yeah, we're getting the Undercity on screen now, which is the dungeon that we're working through with the initiative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's generally the only one you see in this format because it has such a backbreaking line on the left side of the dungeon, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
The fact that you're making sure you don't miss a land drop, you're growing a creature, and you're making the clock so much worse for your opponent. It's pretty devastating. And then,
importantly, the only reason why you might see a variation is because the Forge has to put 2 counters on a creature.
right,
So if your opponent's the only one with creatures, that can be a tough spot to be in to give their creatures counters.
so yeah, we definitely have seen people have to go down the scry path, but you can kind of make do with it because you do end up with a 4/1 on
I
that
was like,
side.
scry 2, make a treasure, make a 4/1.
And the 4/1 does a menace, so like it's not
Menace.
it's not an irrelevant token. So
Yeah.
like even if you have to go down the worst path,
Yeah.
it's really not that much worse. It's just making the clock
Right.
a little more reasonable for your opponent to respond to. All right, looks like we're getting clamp on the seasoned pyromancer and then
And the counters from the Osler
counters, yeah.
on the Seasoned Pyromancer. The Luminar Casper looks like it put a counter on itself.
Mm-hmm. And then Tony deciding, I think, if he wants to.
Caleb in the chat, Teferi Fun Ruiner.
He is known for that.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as much as
Doesn't sound as
Time Rattler.
heroic as
Right. Teferi, best friend.
Teferi. You lose now.
Giver of hugs.
Stealer of games.
Teferi,
Big old meanie. Alright, looks like he's using Dungeoneer on the Aspirant this time. Just to
the
try
Aspirant
to.
might be the only thing attacking.
I think so.
Yeah. Because the Oshimaru is so large.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it guaranteed can
Do
get
you
rid of the
think
Teferi.
Tony practiced the possibility that he would be playing against his own commander?
Well, I do know that him and Spencer play tested quite a lot, so it's possible.
Mhm.
Because I don't have Spencer's list here, but I gotta imagine he's also on
Ooh.
Archmage's Charm, so
Faithful
definitely
Memory,
possible that
trying to gain
he's
some of
used
that
to
life
this.
back.
yeah. Likely, I'm assuming he's still trying to dig for a land. Still haven't seen Elminster this game, which is difficult
He does have a land in hand. I think he's digging for that board
for the
fight.
board wipe.
No, he's
yeah,
picking
looks
it up.
like, yeah.
All right, that'll do us for game number 1.
Yeah.
Tony
Unfortunate there.
taking it on the draw.
Yeah, unfortunate there that we didn't see a single opportunity for Elminster to come out, but the pressure from the Boros deck is
And
just
also
so high.
the lands got awkward.
Yeah. So we are.
So the Oshimaru player lost, but Tony won. Because Casey had the
I'm not prepared for that sort of
maybe
statement
it's
right now.
Brendan from Fun Ruiner.
That's right.
Fun Ruiner.
Fruiner. Yeah, there you go. So exotic.
Yep. What's great is that we prepared these things to talk about between
gap
games.
fillers, I believe they're
Yeah.
called.
Oh, is that what they're called?
No.
Oh man.
Do you want to talk about Spider-Man again? Because you're so close.
Oh
now.
man, I'm so hyped.
You are potentially one game away from being allowed to take pictures.
I want
of
to go to
Spider-Man.
game 3.
I also
think this
really would
matchup
like to
deserves
see.
it.
Yeah, I think this is a cool
And-
match.
Yeah, and I want to see us go to the fight. That being said, pictures of Spider-Man.
That are in your immediate future.
Right, immediate future. We are going to be doing Popper.
Yeah,
as
is the
a
next
league.
league. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of our next stuff going on after we're done with this league. As far as like our store, like Magic community goes.
Right. Yeah. We'll likely see for people who are interested in Dual Commander. While we are going to take a break from the league to do the Pauper League next, we are likely going to see a monthly or something for Dual Commander.
Yeah, we're going to have some form of one-day event over the next couple months, or over the next month, I should say.
Yeah, a month and a half, or whatever the
right.
Pauper League goes for.
Yeah. And then towards the end of the Pauper League, we'll start doing signups for Dual Commander.
Yep.
Yeah.
It may not have fun.
Is that the static ability? I
it's
thought
a
it
pretty
was
good
something
one.
different, but I +1 stop it. Oh my god. No. -3. No.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that'll pop up. That'll make more sense on screen in a moment. I promise.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Looks like because of the amount of mulliganing both players had to do last game, I think they're
Yeah, we get to see
Taking-
the back of
taking the
every card in
opportunity.
Tony's deck.
Yeah.
I really like that one, and also that one.
but maybe not that one.
Well, it's not a revitalize.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we can confirm that.
I was just claiming to be fake psychic for a moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tony's secretly playing 2 revitalizes. That's why he's so upset.
Yeah, so Popper next.
Yeah, I
Dual
think
Commander after.
Popper's
It
fun.
might be the new year just because with the holidays and stuff, but with
Yeah.
the new year we've got Ixalan, we've got Ravnica Remastered, so you get like Old Border Shocks. That's not going to be new cards, but it'll be
I
fun.
mean, I could also potentially see. I mean, depending on how many people are in the Popper League, obviously we could maybe squeeze in the Dual Commander before,
maybe.
like right before the holidays. But it's gonna be dependent on Popper. And I know we had a decent turnout for Popper last time,
Yeah.
so
And I've had Kindle taking over as kind of the tournament
organizer.
and he's been doing such a great job. This league was the first one that he like went whole.
Like full TO mode,
Yeah.
because he was helping obviously
Full
before
sicko
with
mode.
with the streaming and things.
Right,
So, but
So being able to be hands off more
Mhm.
And having Kindle handle that's been really great because then I get to play and do really poorly. And then
is that what
commentate.
happened? Is that, so it's his fault, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's never my fault.
yeah. So I think it'll be fun. Hopefully, we'll see less mulligans for both players. They have had to mulligan quite a lot this top 4, but I think it's good because I think we've seen plenty of real games.
Honestly, I
because
think
of it,
as players, learning when to mulligan is very important. So I think it's not that we're seeing we're seeing more mulligans than we should.
we're seeing
I think
experienced
we're seeing,
players.
Right, we're seeing experienced players that know when to mulligan, taking those mulligans.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a fair point. I think a lot of people looks like we're getting
That's
a
Lance.
sneak peek
And
Oh,
my new favorite
Tony's.
land from Tony
from outer space.
so close.
Now in 3D.
3D.
All right, looks like we're about to kick things off here. I believe both kept 6, so
Yep.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully, we'll at least see hopefully an elements through this game. The fact that we didn't last game, honestly, was a little.
What's that? No,
yeah,
no Mr. No Emrakul.
detrimental for not just Casey,
Actually,
but for
I don't
me
think we
as well.
saw any spells that started with E.
No, he's
no
only
spells
he's
that
only
start
he's
with
only
E.
registered 2, so
Yeah. My statement stands.
you're right. You know what? I can't argue that.
I just want more spells that start with the letter E.
E vitalize.
Ooh, there we go. E.
Surprising
Gonjo.
no one. We've got the turn 1 Yoshimaru here.
Ooh, prismatic ending on 1. Beautiful. That's
It's a nice clean way.
magic as
That
we
is
intended.
That is one less opportunity to get rid of Ozleth this scene again, though. I can't imagine he's playing too many ways to.
Yeah, but I think
to deal with
Casey learned
artifacts.
the tempo of when to deal with, or hopefully learned the tempo
Sure.
of like.
It's also
when-
possible we may not see it. Like I
Right.
doubt Tony is playing any ways to tutor it.
And also
Like,
for this turn,
Actually, I can check. He might be playing an Urza Saga, but oh yes, okay.
yeah. But
So
for this
there's one way.
turn, because Casey has the Lorien revealed as well, that allows him to do interaction and set up for next turn.
Right. Yeah, it's very nice that we might actually see
Right.
the old man cast some scries here this game.
The fact that Casey's going into turn 3, probably with 20 life, is a big win.
Yeah, I mean the fact that the pressure's already off
Right.
for so long here. All right, getting a grizzly bear here for now, and then we'll see the cycle likely to go get a tundra. I'm assuming.
Part of me is like, if he gets a tropical island, we get to just go home.
To the tropical island.
Yeah. Do you also live on a tropical island?
No.
Do we live on the same one? I just didn't know.
No.
It's a bit of a hike from here, which is weird, seeing as there's no mountains
or
on this
or tropical islands.
or tropical island.
Um,
I didn't see which island he got.
I gotta imagine it was tundra, but I didn't see either.
Not one, but 2. Oh, Desert Beach. That's definitely not what he got from the
Unless it was.
host.
Looks like we got an house, so that's second from the top.
And
gains 3 life, I believe.
Yep. Oh, we've had 2 fetches. That's why it looks like Tony's.
Only gained the 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Start from the top. So under 1 card.
Yeah, the wording on that is still awkward for some people to deal with.
I
don't
have
think
to
there's
translate it,
not a clear way, I think, to denote that.
Under 1 card.
Right, but what if it's
Ooh,
under...
Mana Tithe on the 3 mana Yoshimaru?
Yeah, I mean...
I think that's the turning point. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we get to see an island. Get to see Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, I won't say he's out of the woods yet. Because
No, for sure. But I think that's a
especially
good
with the amount
momentum
of
swing.
hasty threats we've seen from Tony over the last couple games.
That's a brainstorm from Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Why wait for Alminster when Jace can brainstorm for you right now?
Why 1 card when 3 card do?
Curious to see
Yeah.
what the next line is here for Tony.
Red. Nope. Undid the red. That's legal
Red,
play.
untap, red again, untap.
Yeah.
Play a 2-drop.
As long as, yeah, 1 mana for a
Lava
Grim
Man.
Lava
Yeah,
Man.
it looks like it's the Lava Mancer again. And then the Aspirant as
Yep.
well.
Sure.
Seems fair.
That's one way to pressure the Planeswalkers is to... Oh, okay. Casey's taking for the other land.
Makes sense. Also interesting, I don't know if putting the counter on the Aspirant is necessarily right, but I guess whatever you put the counter on, there's
Well, I
an
think
opportunity that
Tony's
Jace might bounce it, so...
Right. I also think Tony's plan is either I get to keep activating Grim Lavamancer, which means I don't want the counter on it,
Right.
or he's going to bounce the Grim Lavamancer, which means I don't want the counter on
Right, because you're also not going to get to activate the Lava
Right.
Mancer because it won't ever be able to tap itself.
it. Right.
Yeah, I guess it's fair. It's just... Because we know he sees playing things like Spell Snare and stuff like that, like, I do feel like bouncing the 1-drop is maybe safer.
Yeah, Casey didn't find that 5th land. And it's not in the top 2 either.
Yeah, well, Tony also missed a land, so...
Well, there's 1.
Yeah, so they're at least back on, like, parity with each other.
Sure.
There's the Azelith
Azelith.
again.
That's good.
Let's see. And the Skull Clamp.
Wow.
And clamping. The Aspirant makes sense.
And he's saving up that red mana for the Lavamancer.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to go to combat. We're likely going to see it
Ooh,
swing
we do
at...
have the March in hand that can exile
Yeah.
any multitude of things at that
I mean,
moment.
I got to imagine we're going to see the March... Or swing at Chase. Yeah, immediate snap off
Like,
there.
no. Yep.
Absolutely not.
So it's
Not my boy Blue.
I recently played the game Ghostwire Tokyo, which has a lot of obviously
Oh, we talked about this,
art,
yeah.
things from Tokyo. But one of the things that I noticed is that like March of Otherworldly Light, that is like in Japanese folklore, that is like there is like a ghost or spirit parade.
Oh, that's cool.
That was pulling a lot of inspiration from.
That's awesome. Looks like there's some sort of communication going on here, or at least some decision on Tony's part. Looks like he's deciding to
Pyrokinesis his own.
for the card draw,
Yep.
which honestly, with his hand being as miserable as it
And he
was,
gets to put the counters on Oslo
yeah,
too.
that makes sense. Not the way you really want to use that card, but a way you will do it to guarantee that you're still
But
keeping
also
the pressure up.
Pyrokinesis, there's not
There's not a ton of
it's creatures.
targets for.
Yeah, unless you're wanting to get rid of 4 1/1 fairy dragons, there's not a whole lot that Casey has that
Right.
you're going to use that for.
Yeah, interesting outside of Fury that we haven't seen an actual spell version of this updated for walkers, but I guess Fury kind of plays that role already.
And Fury even has the inspiration of like the pitch part of it too.
Right, yeah. Looks like we've got an Esper Sentinel here. It does look like you may have been right about the turning the corner here, because I think Tony's on single card in hand now. He obviously can still come back from that with clamping both his creatures if he wants.
Sure.
My gut says he'll probably not clamp the Lavamancer because it seems pretty powerful
I think
in this particular matchup. But
Casey might have found that land, maybe. Though he didn't windmill slam it, which means maybe not.
It also might be something awkward like an Aganjo that he may not want to play as a land.
Yeah.
It's a tough call.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was a land, he would have played it though.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so not a land.
Yeah, this looks like he's got Archmage's Charm and a couple
Oh,
other.
is that Council's Judgment?
Possibly. That might have been what he was thinking about, but
Yeah.
you may be thinking about stealing the Lavamancer maybe instead.
Yeah.
Or just snapping off to draw 2
The
more
only
cards.
thing is he doesn't have red mana, which I know, like...
I think just with the potential of him activating his own Lavamancer to kill itself might be good enough. All right, let's see what we've
This
got
is
here.
Mary?
Oh, yeah. from-
Esquire of Rohan?
Yeah, looks like it. That another great card. It does make like turn 1 Yoshi, turn 2 Mary, an absolutely wild like set of plays that could happen in this deck. All right, looks like we're equipping up Mary, which means he'll also have first strike, which is cool.
Yeah, and he gets to draw a card. Ooh.
He'll have to attack with multiple things, but I think he was planning to do that anyway. I doubt he's going to get the opportunity to attack though if Casey's got a response to.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely interesting. I wish we had a better view of Casey's hand right now.
So it's Thassa's Intervention, Archmage's Charm,
Yeah.
Council's Judgment, Miscalculation, Fateful Absence.
Okay, perfect. You have better eyes than I do.
It, for those at home, my job is literally looking
To
at
look
magic
at
cards
magic
all
cards.
day.
Hey, mine used to be.
Yeah.
All right, looks like he is going to allow him to attack, so that will have the trigger.
Oh, he
go
paid
on.
the 1.
Oh,
he's not
choosing
paying
choosing
the 1.
not to pay the 1. I
He's
guess.
going to try to steal the S%.
Yeah.
Oh.
Looks like Jace down.
Yeah, Jace down.
Curious if Tony.
Yeah, I think trying to draw your way out of. Ooh,
Thalia was a good one.
Yeah.
I am curious because he drew from Esper Sentinel. Did he draw from Mary?
He didn't attack with another legendary creature.
Oh, it has to be 2 legends. Okay, thank you. I knew it involved attacking with 2. I couldn't remember which it was. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. Definitely he's going to be able to next turn with the Thalia, and the fact that both will have first strike is pretty rough.
Right.
Though missing out on his counters again because of the Archmage Charm is a little rough.
Yeah, I don't. You have 1 spell this turn. So it's
You have 1 spell.
Well, I mean, Casey does, like, just because of the Thalia and the way the mana is set up.
Yeah.
So that's like you have to decide what 1 spell
especially
makes up the most
especially
ground.
not hitting
And
his
it
5th
looks like
land.
the new card might have been unexpectedly absent.
It's a pretty good one if it is.
Yeah.
Problem is, like, what are you targeting?
Right.
We also might see
Council's Judgment.
paying the 1 because of Thalia.
Thalia, yeah.
My guess is he's gonna name Thalia. Looks like he's.
So we're not naming
double-checking.
Thalia yet. We're just reading it.
Naming Mary. Okay, interesting. Yeah, they
Yep.
agree.
I think Tony also named Mary. Wise decision.
Strange they didn't decide to
I
name.
too voted for Mary.
I'd like to kill all my creatures, please.
Also interesting with the Ozolith trigger on Esper Sentinel is that Grim Lavamancer can't burn it. At least not right now.
Sure.
If he attacks with Thalia, that's because of first strike you have that window. But
I'm curious if we're gonna see.
Oh, man. This is
if
so
we're just
good.
gonna see Yoshi again. Oh, he's following that exact line. Looks like.
Yep. And then Casey
just taking it.
blocking
Yeah, not falling for it. My guess is we're probably gonna see Yoshi again. Yeah.
Now that
with
he has
one,
the 5 mana.
yeah, with
now
single,
that he has
yeah.
6 mana. Yep.
With single card in hand, it's
That's
pretty
what we got.
hard. It's pretty hard to not go for just that.
Yep. Oh, and we draw 2.
Interesting.
6 mana, draw 2. And Boros, that's kind of.
You know what? That's
kind of
probably
the rate.
on rate for Boros. Very interesting call there. That he wouldn't just eat his Lavamancer, but I guess he just values that more than Yoshi. And I guess with no cards in hand, he's not going to grow, so I guess that's fair. But you know you're gonna draw 2, so like, do
Well,
you
we're
not...
cycling. We're trying. It's got to be a land on top.
Stew or die now.
No, no land on top.
Die it is. Yeah, thankfully both players having a bit of an issue with the cards they would like to be seeing right now.
So we had a question in the chat. Why do players not play the Gruul partner, which is
Tana.
For Yoshi, instead of Bruce Tarl? I think my answer for this is because Bruce Tarl in the matchups where you don't want to play Yoshimaru on turn 1 is just a better threat for the game plan that you already have.
Yeah, also, like, I do think that there is an interesting idea for, like, Naya Yoshi. I do think the major issue is the low drop green legendaries probably aren't nearly as impactful.
Sure.
And you're making your mana base a lot more susceptible to things like Blood Moon by putting 3 colors in it. I don't know if that's, like, the exact reason why, but I gotta imagine those things are factors. Looks like we did have Minas Tirith come back into play again.
Oh, and Flowering the White Tree.
Flowering the White Tree, very strong. Making this Thalia into a 4-2
He
now.
didn't pay the 1, though. And there's that land. It might be too little too late, but that's
I don't
the
know.
start. Oh.
It's your boy again.
It's your
my boy.
The 2 cards he drew
Pretty powerful.
were really, really good.
Turns
So
out.
legendaries have +2 power. The non-legendaries have +1 power.
Yeah, so having minimal
So
threats
that's-
to
man.
a ton of damage coming
That's
in
10 damage coming in. That normally would have been 2.
Mm-hmm. Well, 4 or 5, but double damage basically, right?
Oh, sure.
If you drew the same combination of cards
Sure.
without flowering, it would have been 5, but now it's double, which is insane.
Right. So he is going to go for the play of trying to get rid of the...
It looks like he was asking about the power of Thalia before blocking, rereading Flower, Flowering of the White Tree. One of the better anthems we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of his legends have Ward 1 now too is
He's just
crazy.
taking it.
Yeah, I got to imagine that. Yeah, it looks like we're double checking things as far as the damage from everything. I got to imagine that that means he's got a board wipe. Like a.
Feel like it should have been 1 more.
Yeah. Let's see. He was at.
Oh, it's.
So he took
He would have taken 10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Was he at 19?
I don't remember.
I think he was not. 18. Okay, so yeah, he should be at 8. I do know that the table did click the button, but I don't think the life total changed, so we might just need to update that real quick. All right, Brennan. They're just double checking that just to make sure. So I think it's possible that he clicked it. It just didn't change. There we go. Perfect. I don't know if the 1 life is going to matter, but we did see him stabilize it too. So it might matter quite a lot, but we'll see. It is kind of a rough spot, the fact that he just got his 5th land on like turn 1,000,000. So not necessarily the end of the world, but we're going to need to see something very important here.
Yeah. Well, step 1 is get rid of the thing that's causing your mana to be choked.
He's pointing at the Ward 1. So is choosing to pay the Ward 1, which is backbreaking because that was a lot of mana to dump into that.
Right.
Especially knowing that he's going to be taking
Fateful Absence.
potentially 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
9, 10, 11, 13 next turn. Right?
Yeah. Sadly, I think it's just gone.
Yeah, I think the loss of that 5th land was pretty brutal.
Right.
Because it's like turn 10 or something. The fact that both of them just had a lot of nothing going on for quite a while. The fact that the Skull Clamp mattered a ton in this match, and still will, because of the extra damage it's going to provide him.
Brennan was getting his steps in. I don't need them. I need pictures of Spider-Man.
I don't need steps. I need pictures of Spider-Man. Well, it looks like Tony might release you to New York City shortly here. To the place where I was born.
Cleveland?
No, New York. New York City.
Tropical island?
On a tropical island. Alright, let's see here.
Well, because of the 1 mana open, I think he's being a little...
So let's see. So trading there. Taking 4. Oh, I didn't see. He decided not to swing from Lava Mancer. Interesting. I guess because it leaves
the 1 mana
activation.
open. Yep. And the Skull Clan Plus and draw 2.
Mm-hmm. And we could just see some form of burn spell here to just end things. Looks like he is likely going to draw a card because he did attack with 2 or more creatures.
And I think for Casey, even if the board wipe happens...
It's probably too late now because of Lava Mancer.
Oh, I was even thinking the Squee Escape.
Yeah, that's true too.
Mm.
It looks like we might see the activation of the Lava Mancer here, though. Oh, just re-equipping.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Just in case the board wipe happens. You may as well draw an extra 2 cards. I don't think we're going to see a board wipe at this point. I think it's like make tokens or bust.
Oh my god.
Ooh, that's a spicy one.
That's spice. I mean, better lucky than good.
Yeah, I mean, Terminus, very powerful card.
Oh, but Reprieve.
Yikes.
That doesn't even counter. That just puts it back in your hand.
Let's just put it back in your hand. I know that Reprieve of his own.
The Reprieve.
Yeah.
No,
I'll,
I get the draw.
I'll take a break. You sit down. Alright, and then Terminus here. So we are going to activate the Lava Mancer to shoot him for 2. Yeah, we do need to help pick some manner of cards in his graveyard.
Right.
Some
Or
lands makes sense. And then Lava Mancer will get tucked. Tokens will cease to exist. Still has a clue, but he can't pop it right now. Did get a land. Being at 2, that's pretty rough.
Yep.
Curious as to... He has a lot of hasty threats in his deck.
Yep.
A bolt
And he's
would
a bunch
do
of
it.
cards in hand.
Yeah.
Lightning Helix is the play.
Helix is a pretty rough one.
Nope, that's the game.
Nice,
He even
nice,
went
nice,
to
nice
tap
little
for the
pump.
counter
Yeah,
spell.
nice little pump fake from Casey. Known to do that from time to time.
Well, as I said before, it's post midnight, which means Tony is allowed to win this event.
Much like a gremlin, we did not follow the rules and we got punished for it.
Yeah. We fed everyone.
We fed Tony's ego
We
yet
watered
again after
everyone.
midnight.
Yeah. And Tony are only back-to-back champion for the Dual Commander League.
That is true. He is. I think he's the only repeat.
Yeah.
And then
Also the
only
only 2 in a row.
2 in a row.
Yeah.
Which is not great for our tournament of champions we're trying to hold, but you know what? We'll figure that out when we get there.
I think we'll have a workaround for that.
We'll figure something out. Also, waiting another league is probably fine. Someone will dethrone Tony surely.
It could be you at home.
That's right. You yourselves at home. Did you like what you saw? Do you want to be a part of it? Do you want to take that belt from Tony?
Do you dare to dream?
Do you want to play Magic late into the night? All these things can be yours.
My name, as always, is Brendan Pictures of Spider-Man. And with me has been Christopher Kreitzman.
An actual life-size picture of Spider-Man.
An actual life-size picture of Spider-Man. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are going to do this again at some point.
Hopefully
we're going to make
soon.
more content.
Yeah,
it just might be a minute.
Yeah, we've been dying to do more content like this. If you guys like it, obviously, please make sure you reach out. Post in the
the comments.
In the comments here, in the Endgames Facebook group, let us know what that you want to see.
Subscribe. High five
Tell
your neighbor.
Tell your friends.
Maybe not right now because it's after midnight. And we have one more person who wants to say goodbye. We're going to throw it to Nathan in the booth.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brenton and Kreitzman. I really appreciate all the work you did tonight. You all were fantastic in your commentary, and a big congratulations to Tony Perry as the Duel Commander champion. So the Hall of Champions is actually Hall of Champion here at the End Games, the single champion so far. So as I said, if you like this, please comment in and reach out to me here at FDS MTG. And thank you all for watching today. It has been fantastic. But I need to go to bed, so y'all have a good night. Thank you again. Y'all take care.
you.